You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2105 2105 Chapter 463 Su Yu's Network 5. Su Yu was also puzzled. Doubt was doubt. If he was invincible, he probably wouldn't be able to prove that that person was Wan Tianxing. After all, he hadn't been hiding for the past 50 years. At that time, Yi Beixian's good friend would already have invincible combat strength. How could the enemy hide their strength before they even made a move? Of course, probing was necessary. Over the years, Wan Tianxing might have been probed more than once. Wan Tianxing. Su Yu thought for a moment and asked, Eighth Elder, is there anything special about Wan Tianxing? The Heaven Hunting Pavilion had the most information. It was unknown if Eighth Elder was flipping through the information or trying to recall. After a while, he said, Wan Tianxing, the sixth-generation head of the Great Xia Civilization Academy. Because the first 5 generations of the head of the Great Xia Civilization Academy shocked the world, we have some understanding of Wan Tianxing. Wan Tianxing, 99 years old. Yes, 99 years old, this Su Yu knew. Last year, when he enrolled, Wan Tianxing's information showed that 50 years ago, he took over the position of prefect. At 48 years old, he was also extremely talented. At 48 years old, he was at the peak of the mountain and sea realm. To be honest, probably no one would think that a 48-year-old Wan Tianxing. At that time, his strength would be terrifyingly strong. At that time, Yi Beixian was much older than Wan Tianxing. Even though they were friends, they were at least a generation older than Wan Tianxing. Peak of the mountain and sea realm. Someone once speculated that Wan Tianxing might have already stepped into the sun and moon. He went into hibernation to avenge Yi Beixian. He and Yi Beixian are good friends. Wan Tianxing was also born in the Great Xia Mansion, the disciple of the third-generation prefect of the Great Xia Civilization Academy. Su Yu was surprised, the student of the third-generation head. That can't be right. He's only 99 years old, and the third generation has fallen for many years. Above Yi Beixian, there's another fourth generation. 51 years ago, Wan Tianxing was 48 years old, and he entered the academy at 18 years old. 81 years ago, the third generation of the Great Xia Civilization Academy fell, right? It was the fourth generation head, right? The eighth elder explained, this can be considered a secret, an interesting story. On the side of the Great Xia Institute of Civilization, the first, third, and fifth generations are all from the Multidivine Literature Department, and they are all passed down from master to disciple. Xia Chen's disciple is from the third generation, and the third generation's disciple is Yi Beixian. However, the third generation has other disciples. The eldest disciple was still alive back then, and he was the one who took in the disciple on behalf of his teacher. He said that the 10,000 heavenly saints' aptitude was very good, and that it was not suitable for him to take in the disciple, so he took in the disciple on behalf of his teacher, addressing each other as senior and junior. You can understand that the current Su Yu is also Bai Feng's student, but, actually, Bai Feng isn't qualified to teach him anything. It's more like Hong Tan taking in a disciple. Su Yu thought for a while and then said, you mean, Wan Tianxing is actually Yi Beixian's junior brother, but Wan Tianxing's teacher isn't the third generation, but Yi Beixian's eldest senior brother? Yes. Eighth elder nodded, they are senior brothers, but not many people know about it. Strictly speaking, they can be considered as martial nephews. The human race doesn't care too much about these things. On the side of the academy, accepting disciples is not the same as accepting normal disciples. Su Yu called Lu Wenyan teacher, and even called Hong Tan grandmaster. In the 10,000 clans, this is a great treason, so there is no need to pursue this matter too much. At this moment, Su Yu suddenly became interested in the third generation. It was true. The third generation's disciple was Yi Beixian. He also had an in-name disciple called Wan Tianxing. His eldest disciple had taken in a disciple on behalf of his teacher. The third generation died, leaving nothing behind. There was a war devil field, but Suyu had never been there once. The first generation Xia Chen, Suyu knew. The second generation, left behind the white dragon. The fourth generation, Zhao Li's father. The fifth generation, Yi Batian. The sixth generation, 10,000 heavenly saints. Only the third generation, actually had a lower sense of existence, but the third generation actually produced two extremely monstrous geniuses, even though 10,000 heavenly saints was not his true disciple. The eighth elder continued, after 10,000 heavenly saints' eldest senior brother died, he went to the exploration realm to further his studies. Later, Yi Batian became the fifth generation. Perhaps because he took care of this little junior brother, he would often visit him, explain his doubts, and discuss the Tao with him. Of course, discussing the Tao should have overestimated 10,000 heavenly saints. Yi Batian was more to take care of him. After the fall of Yi Batian, Wan Tianxing walked out of the Pursuit realm and took over the Great Xia Civilization Academy. The decline of the polytheistic literature has something to do with Wan Tianxing's inaction. Some people think that he secretly kept the polytheistic literature department to protect Hong Tan and the others when he saw Yi Batian's fall. That's why he kept suppressing them. Because this department is the target of all the worlds in the universe. Suyu frowned and asked, Myriad Heaven Saint is from the multi-divine literature department? That should be the case. However, it is said that when he became a disciple, he had already stepped into the sky. It seems that he did not receive the inheritance of the multi-divine literature department's divine literature battle techniques. It is rumored that he is actually from the single divine literature department. Suyu was secretly shocked. Myriad Heaven Saint had already stepped into the sky before entering the academy. How monstrous! No wonder the eldest disciple of the third generation felt that he was not qualified to take in a disciple. Wan Tianxing had stepped into the sky at the age of 17 or 18. Suyu frowned and said, if that's the case, why isn't the myriad clans targeting him? He's not coming out again. The eighth elder was speechless. After he took over the Great Xia Civilization Academy, he went out less than 3 times in the whole 51 years. Every time, he went out as quickly as he could. Even if the myriad clans wanted to target him, they couldn't target him. Super otaku? Wrong. That was because Old Wan was terrifyingly powerful. After he left, none of you knew about it. You thought he was an otaku. Wrong, he was always fooling around in private. It was only until today that Suyu found out that Wan Tianxing was actually Yi Batian's junior brother, a third-generation disciple. This Great Xia Institute of Civilization was really complicated. No wonder Hong Tan had trusted Wan Tianxing from the very beginning. He had told Suyu several times that he could ask Wan Tianxing for help if he was in trouble. Obviously, Hong Tan knew about it, but Bai Feng might not. After all, it had happened 70 to 80 years ago. No one had mentioned it, so Suyu and the others naturally didn't know much about it. After Wan Tianxing's eldest senior brother, who had taken in a disciple on behalf of his teacher, died, he left the Great Xia Civilization Academy. Many people thought that Wan Tianxing came from the realm of seeking, but few people knew that Wan Tianxing was actually a member of the Great Xia Mansion. Xia Langu seems to be Wan Tianxing's student. Strictly speaking, Wan Tianxing belongs to Teacher Lu's generation, and if I were to count from Teacher Lu's side, Xia Langu and I are considered fellow disciples. Suyu was speechless. This relationship was pulled together. We are fellow disciples. Of course, this seniority was very chaotic. Wan Tianxing belonged to Yi Batian's generation and Lu Wenyan's generation, and Suyu was also chaotic. On one hand, he was Bai Feng's student, and on the other hand, he was Lu Wenyan's student. In short, he called Xia Longwu senior brother. Xia Longwu probably had nothing to say. Speaking of which, we can call him that. Suyu sighed inwardly. I didn't know this a long time ago. Otherwise, if I knew that Xia Longgu was my brother, would have been braver in the Great Xia Manor. In other words, the Great Xia Manor is my own family. The higher-ups are all from my lineage. Xia Huyo even has to call me uncle. At this moment, Suyu was thinking in an unrestrained manner. The eighth elder and the others thought that he was thinking about something important, so they did not disturb him. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2106 2106 Chapter 464, South Boundless Territory 1. With Genie dead, the trail was cut short. Silver Wing was temporarily put down, and Su Yu was not in a hurry. According to their plan, that Invincible would definitely appear this time. Now that Hong Tan had advanced, soon, Xia Yinqi and the others would also advance. By the time Lu Wenyan returned, that Invincible would probably not be able to hold it in anymore. At this moment it was already November. It had not been half a year since Lu Wenyan and Su Yu had done great things together. It had only been 3 to 4 months. They did not know how Lu Wenyan's current situation was, whether he had stepped into the Sun and Moon realm. As long as he was willing to shatter the divine runes, Lu Wenyan should have improved very quickly. In the next few days, the human realm was in a mess. In southern Yuan City, not long after Hong Tan had advanced, Xia Yinqi had really advanced. Sun-Moon Realm. This genius from over 50 years ago had experienced many hardships. This time, he had finally stepped into the Sun-Moon Realm and became the second Sun-Moon Realm expert in the polytheistic literature department. Hong Tan was the first and the only Sun-Moon Realm expert that everyone knew of. Xia Yinqi had finally made a breakthrough. And his breakthrough also shocked everyone. Was this a coincidence, or was that gravestone really that terrifying? Just by releasing some aura, he advanced Hong Tan and Xia Yinqi. How could the sun and moon break through so easily? However, Xia Yinqi stepped into the sun and moon realm after being stuck for dozens of years. Besides Xia Yinqi's breakthrough, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion was the most active recently. Xianjiu had gone crazy. He led the white-masked and black-masked members of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion to kill people everywhere. He led the sect masters and vice-sect masters who had submitted to him to kill in all directions. He had the attitude of being the only one in the world. His main target was the Myriad Clan sect. The Myriad Clan sect had quite a few Sun and Moon Realm experts. 4 of them were Sun and Moon Realm experts. Earth Fire Sect Master, Massive Strength Sect Master, Incipient Devil Sect Master, and Primitive Sect Master. Other than these 4 Sun and Moon Realm experts, 2 from the Six Wings Divine Sect, and the other 2 who had submitted to Suyu, there were also 5 or 6 Sun and Moon Realm experts. There were more than 10 of them. If the Poison Sovereign and the others who had been killed earlier were included, there were more than 20 Sun-Moon Realm experts. However, as Suyu continued to sweep, within 3 days, Suyu killed another Sun-Moon Sect Master and forced the 2 Sun-Moon Sect Masters to surrender. At this point, only 4 Sun-Moon Realm experts remained. They were still independent from the 2 or 3 Sun-Moon Realm experts who had yet to show their faces. In the underground hall, the 10,000 clans gathered once again. In the past, there were more than a dozen Sun-Moon Sect Masters and hundreds of Mountain and Sea Sect Masters. Now, there were only a few of them. On this day, 7 Sun and Moon Sect Masters had arrived. 4 Sun and Moon Late Stage, 3 Sun and Moon Middle Stage. This was the final strength of the entire human realm, the 10,000 Clans sect. After hundreds of years of accumulation, they were all wiped out in less than a year. Silence. After a long while, one of the Sun-Moon Sect Masters said dejectedly, I once thought that if the 10,000 Clans sect joined hands, other than not being invincible, they could fight against a huge mansion and establish their own power. But now, I know that I'm really thinking too much. Overthinking it. Last year, the 10,000 clans still had over 20 sun and moon disciples. This year, they only had 7. It was a bone-breaking injury. The other sun-moon sect master. He said angrily, the various manners don't know much about us yet. The most detestable ones are Silver Wing and the others. They know a lot about us. It was them who led the heaven-hunting pavilion's bastards and killed the Xianming sect master and the others. The fortresses were all broken through from the inside. As members of the 10,000 clans, even if they were not from the same sect, they still had to interact with each other. Perhaps some people knew about your base. Even the deputy cult master had betrayed them. This was even more terrifying. This time, Suyu had killed a sun and moon and persuaded 2 sun and moon to join the heaven-hunting pavilion. It was those who had joined earlier who had led the way for Suyu. The 4 late-stage sun and moon cultivators, Lan Tian and the original cult master didn't say anything. The muscular man from the Herculean god sect. He gritted his teeth and said, "We can't go on like this. We're in a dilemma now. The heaven-hunting pavilion wants to subdue us, the human race wants to kill us, and the 10,000 races want to control us. Back then, we agreed to work together to resist the 10,000 races and the human race. Now, it's all become a joke." With that, he looked at the original cult master and the phantom of blue sky. "The two of you, the 10,000 races cult has been operating for many years before we have the current situation. Are you really going to decline just like this? Become a vassal of the heaven-hunting pavilion?" Everyone looked at them. Some were unwilling, while some still wanted freedom. They didn't want to become white-faced or black-faced. Now, only these few late-stage sun-moon almighties could stand out and change some things. Lan Tian chuckled and said, "Simple. All of you will join me and be under my protection. It's not a big deal." Everyone did not want to pay attention to him. The Earth Fire cult master said coldly, "You should first slaughter a city of people." Lan Tian, the incipient devil cult is a devil cult, not a saint cult. Do you really think you are saints? Lan Tian could not help but laugh and said, "Idiot, can killing solve the problem? Other than making everyone hate you, there is no benefit. Why bother? What is our purpose? To save the human race, become the savior of the human race, and create peace in the world." Here it comes again. Everyone had a headache. Lan Tian's idea was really annoying. Everyone was just making a living and did not have such big ideals. Lan Tian was a madman. He created World Peace Day and Night. The incipient demon sect was almost becoming a saint sect. Why would the incipient demon race tolerate him? Incipient cult master, what do you think? The incipient cult master was as calm as ever as he said calmly, "I don't think much. Xia Longwu is about to reach the Tao. I want to see if I can take the opportunity to follow him and take advantage of him. As for other things, I don't really want to interfere." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2107. 2107 Chapter 464, Southern Borderless 2. Lan Tian said in surprise, "You captured the 3 incarnations. Guess. It's no fun if I don't guess." Lan Tian smiled and said, "Primitive, you're really calm. That Xianjiu has been slaughtering everywhere recently, especially against us. You're still calm and composed. I admire you. Could it be that you're a member of the heaven-hunting pavilion? Are you a member of the 10,000 heavenly saints?" The primitive religious master said indifferently, "Lan Tian, the outside world is saying that you have a very good relationship with the 10,000 heavenly saints. Are you a member of the Great Xia Mansion?" Lan Tian chuckled and said, "Yes, of course. So, I'm not afraid. I have a way out. If the 10,000 races are destroyed, I can also regain my identity and go to the Great Xia mansion to live. You guys can't do it. The religious masters were so angry that their livers hurt. There was really nothing they could do about Lan Tian. You said that he was a spy, right? Actually, it didn't seem like it because this guy was very crazy. He didn't really kill people, but his ideas were very crazy. He had already encouraged many people to work hard to create peace in the myriad realms. How could they work hard? Opening the human realm, setting up the myriad races encampment, creating the core of the myriad realms trade, and even opening the passage and barriers. Now, many people were affected by him. To be honest, many sect masters felt that this guy was even more evil than the 10,000 races religion. You can kill, but the human race isn't afraid. The Great Xia mansion had fought with them many times. When they mentioned the 10,000 races religion, they didn't even care about it. They weren't afraid of killing. But the incipient devil religion was spreading the idea of peace everywhere. Many people were fooled. This thing had a great spread and was fast. Some large manners even turned a blind eye to the existence of the incipient devil cult. This was very terrifying. He said that he was from the Great Xia manners, but it wasn't very believable. The Earth Fire cult master couldn't be bothered with him. Very quickly, he said, "Primitive, we know that this isn't what you want. We don't want to delay your Tao attainment because of these things. However, we are all followers of the 10,000 races. Even if you become the overlord of a region, you still need people under you, right? Help us today. The next day, if you really go out on your own, we might follow." The primitive sect master said indifferently, "There's no need. Primitive, do you really want to sit back and watch us get killed? Just join the heaven hunting pavilion." The primitive sect master said coldly, "They need experts. Didn't Silver Wing and the others join them? Great Strength, Earth Fire, you are both at the 7th level of the Sun Moon realm. Maybe you can even become an elder." The two late-stage Sun Moon realm cultivators were somewhat angry. At this point, who would be willing to rely on others? Late-stage Sun Moon realm cultivators, who wouldn't want to attain the Tao? But after entering the heaven hunting pavilion, not only would one have to be instructed by others, the other party's invincibility would also control everything about them. Was there really any hope for them to attain the Tao? Silver Wing and the others were different. They were still weak and still had time. They could still improve. It wasn't too late to think about it when they reached the late-stage Sun Moon realm. They might not even be able to reach the heaven hunting pavilion. What about them? Moreover, they had been big shots for a long time. The 10,000 races were also quite polite to them. Was it really appropriate to join the heaven hunting pavilion now? Big shots had big shots considerations, while small shots had small ones considerations. The few of them were naturally unwilling. The primordial sect master said indifferently, "If it doesn't work, just talk to Lan Tian. Go with him. He's also at the 8th layer of the Sun Moon realm. With the three of you working together and the others, we can still fight. The heaven hunting pavilion will also be wary." A Sun and Moon expert said hurriedly, "Primordial, we only trust you. Lan Tian. We don't trust him." Lan Tian said faintly, "I say, that's not appropriate. Primordial might not be a good thing. Playing hard to get, I know how to do it too. Primordial might be the real spy of the Great Xia mansion. Be careful that he doesn't sell you out, or you'll be the ones to hand it over yourself. I've investigated Shi Yuan's identity before. He's extremely mysterious, but there's a faint connection between him and the Great Xia mansion. I once suspected that he was the 3rd-generation head of the Great Xia Civilization Academy, Nan Wujiang." Lan Tian smiled and said, "The death of Nan Wujiang is full of suspicions. I've been in the Great Xia Civilization Academy for many years. The death of the 3rd generation is already somewhat unusual. The deaths of the 1st and 2nd generations are all traceable. There's conclusive evidence, but there's no evidence of the death of the 3rd generation. There were only people who saw him die together with a quasi-invincible celestial race member. In the end, he left behind the main god language, war. He left behind the battlefield that the Great Xia Civilization Academy has inherited for many years. Did the Endless South really die? Blue Sky chuckled, not necessarily. When did the primitive times appear? The Endless South died in battle nearly 100 years ago, and the primitive times seem to have appeared during that period, right? How did he become the leader of the primitive god school? I heard that the previous leader of the primitive god sect suddenly recommended him as his successor before his death. Many people were unconvinced and were killed by him. I was curious. This guy suddenly appeared and is so powerful. Did he appear out of thin air? The primitive leader didn't say anything. But at this moment, the hall was dead silent. The giant strength sect leader frowned and said in a serious voice, "The death of the Southern Borderless was known by all the races. Blue Sky, stop talking nonsense." "I'm spouting nonsense." Lon Tian smiled faintly and said, "Then it's up to you guys. I suspect that Primordial has been hiding in the Myriad Clan sect for many years. It might not be for the sake of us little shrimps. I've even heard some rumors, Primordial has been seriously injured all these years because of Yi Batian. He's also hiding because of Yi Batian. Don't you think it's interesting?" "What do you mean?" "Yi Batian attained the Tao. As his teacher, do you think that he is just going to watch?" "Seems like." "I'm just saying that when Yi Batian attained the Tao, there were actually people protecting the Tao. I also heard from some experts and the Shur Mo clan that the experts protecting the Tao had a high probability of being invincible. They might also be quasi-invincible. It might be 3 generations, right?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2108. 2108 Chapter 464, Southern Borderless 3. Lon Tian looked at the original cult master and smiled. The original cult master is too lazy to care about us now because he might have some big plan this time. The original cult master said calmly, "Lon Tian, you are bewitched." "I am bewitched?" Lon Tian smiled, "If you say so. Of course, for the sake of the human race, I like it, primitive, I didn't expose you to do anything to you. I just wanted to say that you should save yourself for something useful. Don't do something like taking a chestnut out of the fire. You're just throwing your life away for nothing. This time, the Great Xia Mansion is in turmoil. I feel that this invincible human who betrayed us. He might have to show himself. You've been acting so mysteriously lately. Could it be that you're planning to kill him?" Lon Tian said coldly, "Don't even think about it. Be careful not to get yourself killed. Have you recovered from your injuries?" "Lon Tian, you're spouting nonsense. It's not a good habit." The primal sect leader was a little unhappy this time. The death of the Southern Borderless is known by all the races. You, Lon Tian, want to be the leader. I don't want to participate. If you spout nonsense and intentionally ruin my chance to attain Tao, I won't let you off. The two experts were at loggerheads with each other. This caused the other religious leaders to be shocked. The primitive religious leader, 3rd generation, Southern Borderless? Impossible. Could the timing match? If the Southern Borderless really didn't die and the 3rd generation was the primitive religious leader, then they couldn't help but shiver. As for the meaning in Lon Tian's words, it made people break out in cold sweat. Was this going to involve the level of invincibility? Lon Tian, this madman, dared to say anything. If this news was spread out, it would be incredible and shocking. At this moment, the Earth Fire Cult Master and the Huge Strength Cult Master were also trembling in fear. They didn't mention anything about letting the original Cult Master lead them. If the 3rd generation really met, wouldn't they be sold out? Lon Tian said with a smile, "Of course, I just said it casually. Whether you believe it or not, it's up to you. The primitive cult master said coldly, your casual words might cause me a lot of trouble. Lan Tian, watch your mouth. If I meet you, you won't have a good ending. Lan Tian said with a smile, don't say that. I might not be afraid of you. If you were from the southern borderless, there would be people who would kill you without me doing anything. Primitive, you'd better pray that you're not. The primitive religious master sneered, a thief shouting to catch a thief is not bad. Unfortunately, you, Lan Tian, have to clear your name first. At this moment, all the religious masters were terrified. Who was real and who was fake? They didn't dare to believe the primitive religious master. No one dared to believe Lan Tian either. The two strongest religious masters of the huge myriad clan sect couldn't believe it. In the next moment, many people looked at the huge force and the earth fire, their faces full of worry and helplessness. Our myriad clan sect is about to become a sieve. These two strongest sect masters don't seem to be reliable. You two late-stage sun-moon elders, please save us. Lan Tian chuckled, it's fine even if everyone doesn't believe me. Just don't trust primitive so easily. This fellow is in big trouble. If he joins other forces, there's still a way to survive. He might go crazy and seek death himself. I don't want to die with him. Giant Strength and Earth and Fire didn't say anything, but their hearts were shivering. Just say if. Primitive was the southern borderless. Why had he been hiding for so many years? Needless to say, it was definitely to take revenge for Yi Badian. Yi Badian had failed to attain Tao. Now, there were also rumors that it was the doing of that traitor of the human race, Invincible. Perhaps, the southern borderless had participated in it in the past. He had long known that someone had betrayed him, so he had been waiting for an opportunity to lay low. This time, the Great Xia mansion had changed. Perhaps the southern borderless was trying to draw out that Woody and kill him, or even perish together. Yi Badian was so strong, so how could the southern borderless be weak? Even if he was injured, perhaps, he was terrifyingly strong. If that was really the case, it would be very terrifying. The original cult master sighed and said indifferently, don't think too much. Lan Tian is just deliberately slandering me. Then tell everyone, what is your true identity? Lan Tian said with a faint smile, this human realm cannot have a 9th level sun-moon or even quasi-invincible for no reason. Tell me about your past and everything about you. And I, Lan Tian, have a clean background. Lan Tian laughed, everyone suspects that I have a connection with the Great Xia Manor, this is normal. I don't mind everyone suspecting. I'm not afraid of people being bad. If a bad person is written on your face, then it's not bad. If it's not written on your face, then it's really bad. Ha! The original cult master laughed lightly, and his figure disappeared. Lan Tian laughed, look, you're feeling guilty. You ran away. I still have to warn you, be careful. It's best not to get entangled with him. It's very troublesome. After saying that, he instantly broke down. The moment they left, everyone else was dumbstruck. What should they do? Someone gritted his teeth and said, relying on others is better than relying on oneself. Lan Tian cult master's words, make me afraid. If that's really the case, then I might as well directly join the heaven hunting pavilion. How terrifying. It was too terrifying. The original cult master might be from the southern borderless, but weren't you afraid? After so many years, perhaps they were just using them as tools to conceal their identities. Otherwise, they would have long been killed. It was too dangerous. The huge strength sect master and the earth fire sect master didn't say anything. They looked at the other 3 sect masters and transmitted their voices, what should we do? They couldn't count on the 2 great experts anymore. It would be a good thing if they didn't trick them to death. Huge strength sighed, he transmitted his voice, if it really can't be done, just vote. It's better than dying for no reason at all. If the primordial is really the southern borderless, then nothing will happen from now on, right? Do you think that person will place a chess piece among us? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2109. 2109 Chapter 464 Southern Borderless 4. If they were to plant it, the words of blue sky would definitely be spread out. The few of them didn't say anything. Even if they didn't plant it, the strength of their words might not be reliable. Perhaps they had already voted for that person. If that was really the case, the news would definitely be spread out. Sighing, the few of them didn't say anything else. The alliance wasn't going to work out. If it really wasn't going to work out, then they would join the heaven hunting pavilion. This time, the two sect leaders attacked each other, causing them to completely give up. Otherwise, with the powerful primordial sect leader leading them, they might not have been afraid of the heaven hunting pavilion in the human realm. But now, there might be problems with both of them. What should they do? Of course, if Blue Sky was a spy, it would be slandering Primitive. And if Primitive was from the southern borderless, then the probability of Blue Sky having problems wasn't high. This secret had been exposed by Primitive, so the probability of these two being spies was very low. The meeting ended. It did not end for long. In the human realm, somewhere, a figure that seemed to exist forever suddenly opened his eyes and muttered, "Southern borderline? Primordial? Southern borderline." The powerhouse that appeared beside Yi Batian in the past was from the southern borderline? If that was the case, then some things could be matched. Primordial, southern borderline, was that so? Was that the three incarnations of Boundless South? He had been protecting Yi Batian the entire time. But why did Boundless South play dead? Could it be that he was also trying to attain Tao in secret? One thought after another surfaced as the figure muttered, "Boundless South, obtained the three incarnations." Over the past few decades, he has been recuperating from his injuries. The three incarnations were destroyed, and the Great Xia Manor plotted against him. This was a ploy. A ploy to lure him in. Perhaps it was. And the source of his confidence was the southern borderless region. The southern borderless region had been so powerful in the past. The three reincarnations could slaughter eternity. Perhaps they had already recovered, or perhaps they had yet to recover. Regardless, if the southern borderless region was really alive, then the Great Xia Manor would be in great danger waiting for him. Blue Sky. The figure smiled. Blue Sky was very interesting. Whether it was intentional or slander, Blue Sky's guess was not born out of nowhere. Everything was too coincidental. Of course, 100 years ago, Yi Batian had not revealed such talent. If the southern borderless tribe was truly primitive, then he had hidden his identity not for Yi Batian, but for himself to attain Tao. Back then, Yi Batian was not the only one who attained Tao. The southern borderless tribe might also have the intention to use this opportunity to attain Tao. Or perhaps, when Yi Batian succeeded, they would protect him and then attain Tao. So that's how it is. In the eyes of the figure, the world seemed to spin as if it had returned to many years ago. Very quickly, figures appeared one after another. The figure that had been blasted apart seemed to have overlapped with the southern borderless. Danger, is it him? The figure muttered. Perhaps, he still had to give it a try. At the same time. On Su Yu's side, the silver-winged sect master suddenly said, "My lord, the sect master of the Herculean sect has contacted me. He says that he wants to talk to the heaven hunting pavilion." The sect master of the Titan sect? The seventh level of the Sun-Moon realm? Yes. Su Yu rubbed his chin and smiled, even the late-stage Sun-Moon realm gave in. Is it that simple? Could it be a trap? The myriad clan sect can still fight us. At least there are 4 late-stage Sun-Moon Realm experts. That original sect master and Lan Tian are both top-tier experts. Are they giving in just like that? Strange. Su Yu suspected that it was a trap. In the past few days, Su Yu had been sweeping through the Myriad Clan sect. He had either killed them or brought them under his command. Almost all of the treasures that he had seized were distributed to everyone according to their merits. These guides had earned quite a bit over the past few days. Of course, to Su Yu, there was nothing good about them. 2 more Sun-Moon sect disciples had come under his command. They were both early-stage Sun-Moon sect disciples. There were now 12 early-stage Sun-Moon sect disciples under Su Yu's command, and there were 2 middle-stage Sun-Moon sect disciples. Such a force was no weaker than the peak stage of the Myriad Clan sect. Of course, they had to include the 8th Elder and the Mystic Armor. At this moment, Su Yu was surprised that a sect master at the late stage of the Sun and Moon wanted to talk to him. It wasn't easy to bribe someone at the late stage of the Sun and Moon. The Sun and Moon mystic yellow liquid was average, so they cared more about the vessel. This was because after the 7th stage, they had to consider these things. No matter how rich the Heaven Hunting Pavilion was, it didn't mean that they could casually take out the carrier. There definitely were, but the quantity was limited. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion itself had quite a few elders. Su Yu looked at the mystic armor beside him and said, "Elder, could it be a trap?" According to the information of the Myriad Clan cult, there are still 4 late-stage Sun-Moon cultivators, especially the original cult master. They might be at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon, or they might be quasi-invincible. Xian Jia said indifferently, "We'll know after we try. If it's a trap, call out 3rd Elder and 8th Elder. We won't be afraid even if there's a trap." "That's right." Su Yu nodded, he smiled and said, "Right, Silver Wing, tell him that we can meet. It's best if he comes in person to express his sincerity. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion won't mistreat these top-tier experts. Even I don't have the qualifications to take in those late-stage Sun-Moon cultivators. If he's willing to join, he can first join under the Xian Jia Elder and be my colleague. When we arrive at the heavenly battlefield, we'll discuss merits and rewards. He won't be able to escape the position of an elder. He didn't have the right to take in these late-stage Sun-Moon experts, but couldn't the black-armored elder be a tool? The 8th stage Sun-Moon was enough to intimidate them. Silver Wing quickly said, "Yes, my lord. Then I'll inform him. I hope that huge strength will be tactful." Although the clues had been cut off because of Gold Wing's death, Silver Wing had still benefited quite a bit in the past few days. Now, he was also looking forward to returning to the heavenly battlefield as soon as possible. Moreover, in these past few days, he had also experienced the benefits of being a major faction. It was truly exhilarating. Surrounding and killing his former enemies, more than 10 suns and moons had attacked at the same time. Each of them had killed the other party with a single punch. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2110. 2110 Chapter 464, Southern Borderless 5. It was not like him and Jean Yi, who had to be sneaky and careful when killing a person. In the past few days, they had encircled the Myriad Clan cult and met some experts of the Myriad Clan. Xian Jiao was also extremely overbearing and directly told them to scram. If they didn't scram, he would kill them. When the experts of the Myriad Clan saw them, they all had to retreat. He was too proud, and he felt great too. This was a great power, and this was the Sky Hunting Pavilion that was overseen by the 8 unrivaled experts. Right now, Silver Wing's greatest dream was to become the overseer of a region like Xianjiu. He would lead a large number of experts and sweep across all directions. If anything happened, he would be able to call for help at any time. An elder at the 8th level of the Sun-Moon realm, a quasi-unrivaled law enforcement elder. He had seen him every day for the past few days. He had been nervous at the start, but now, he was getting used to it. He could also broaden his horizons here. Everyone had expended a lot of energy, and it was all recovered by devouring heaven's yuan qi. Usually, when they cultivated, the sun and moon would almost always use the sun and moon mystic yellow liquid to cultivate. This was the heaven hunting pavilion, unlike him, who would be heartbroken after using the sun and moon mystic yellow liquid once every 3 to 5 years. Silverwing silently cursed in his heart. If he was like these fellows, he would at least be at the 3rd level of the sun and moon. If things went smoothly, he might be at the middle level of the sun and moon. Waste. Extravagance. Only after joining the heaven hunting pavilion did Silverwing realize how poor he was. This was not his own thought. The few experts who had recently joined all had the same thought. At this moment, the 10,000 clan cult already had a total of 5 sun and moon under Su Yu's command. After a few missions, everyone felt that it was different from before. Xianzhou might be overbearing, but the distribution of the spoils of war was still very fair. Whoever contributed the most would get the spoils. He rarely deducted them. Of course, it might be because Xianzhou didn't like these things. Su Yu prepared to meet with Zhu Li. At the same time, some sun and moon experts at the human realm received the news and were looking for the primordial sect leader. They were trying to test the other party. Of course, killing the primordial master teacher was extremely difficult. On the surface, the primordial master teacher was already at 9 Dan Sun-Moon realm, so it was impossible for him to kill the other party unless he was quasi-invincible or invincible. As for the doubts that the primordial master teacher had toward the myriad heaven sage, they weren't too big to begin with, but now, they had been reduced to an extremely low point. Even if the myriad heaven sage concealed his strength, would 7 Dan Sun-Moon realm be sufficient? If not, the 8th level. If not, so what if he gave you the 9th level? The 9th level was strong, but it also depended on who he was compared to. However, the person who was with Yi Batian back then was truly terrifying. His talent and strength were all terrifyingly powerful, because there were too few who could kill an invincible 3-generation body, not even Xia Longwu. There probably weren't many outstanding people like that in the human race. If it was Yi Batian's master, the 3rd generation of the Southern Borderless, then it was possible. Only someone like this could make Yi Batian trust him so much. He wasn't afraid of the enemy being powerful, but he was afraid of the enemy hiding in the dark. To the great Xia mansion, they were afraid of the invincible person who was hiding in the dark. And to the invincible person, they were afraid that the person beside Yi Batian was actually not dead. He was still alive and knew something. Right now, both sides were thinking of digging up the other party. At this moment, the person beside Yi Batian seemed to have revealed himself first. All of this originated from the blue sky. This fellow had come up with a shocking idea, and it was originally from the endless south. In the past, everyone thought that the endless south was dead, so no one thought about it. It had been many years since the primordial era became the sect leader, and it didn't seem to have anything to do with Yi Batian. However, if he were to first assume the identity of the primordial era, and then deduce it in reverse, many things would be clear. It would be easier to find out his identity. Just as someone was secretly investigating the identity of Yuan Shi's sect master. Nan Yuan attracted everyone's attention and shocked time and time again. 11th month, 1st day, Hong Tan advanced to the 2nd level of the sun and moon. 11th month, 3rd day, Xia Yinqi advanced to the sun and moon. 11th month, 4th day, Zhao Mingyue advanced to the sun and moon. 11th month, 5th day, Hu Ping advanced to the sun and moon. It shook the entire world. Within 5 days, 3 people advanced to the sun and moon realm consecutively. All of them were from the multi-god literature department. Hong Tan even showed signs of advancing to the 3rd level of the sun and moon realm. This made everyone even more excited, envious, and excited. Literary tombstone. The most precious treasure of the world. As for the small figure Bai Feng, when they advanced to the sun and moon realm, he advanced to Ling Yun. Not many people cared anymore. What a joke. The sun and the moon had appeared one after another. Who would care about Ling Yun? Even if Bai Feng had advanced to Ling Yun and caused quite a stir, no one would care. No matter how strong Ling Yun was, he was only Ling Yun. How could someone as strong as Modwa dare to say that he could fight the sun and the moon? At this moment, the most excited people were not only the powerhouses of the 10,000 races, but also a large number of human powerhouses. The geniuses from the various small worlds all headed to the southern Yuan. Some important figures even personally protected them and wanted to negotiate with the Xia family so that these geniuses could enter the Suyu family and comprehend a thing or two from the Suyu family. Since the polytheistic literature department had advanced, the other polytheistic literature departments would definitely be able to do so. This was a rare opportunity. Since they were both from the polytheistic literature department, they should at least give some face, right? The Xia clan was also a human clan, so they couldn't be too selfish, right? At this moment, the tiny Nanyuan had attracted everyone's attention. Even the heaven hunting pavilion's unbridled sweep of the myriad clans wasn't something that many people cared about. That was a small matter. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2111. 2111 Chapter 465 Righteousness 1. November 6th. The second day after Hu Ping's advancement, outside Nanyuan City. This time, the eighth elder personally came out to recruit him. The sect master of the Herculean sect didn't show his true body, but instead, it was the sound of a puppet. These days, the sun and the moon were heavy, so he wasn't that careless. He also didn't dare to completely trust the heaven hunting pavilion. The eighth elder wore a golden-rimmed mask and calmly said, "If you join the heaven hunting pavilion, after this change in the human realm ends and you return to the heavenly battlefield, you will definitely advance to the position of an elder. You can enter 4 divisions or 2 pavilions." The Titan sect leader's puppet was expressionless. He said, "This time, I'm not alone. Earth, Fire and I are both at the 7th level of the Sun-Moon realm. In addition, the One-Horned, Flying Tiger, and Thunder Condor sect leaders are all at the mid-level of the Sun-Moon realm. The 5 of us will be negotiating with the Heaven Hunting Pavilion this time." This was to increase his bargaining chip. 5 Sun-Moon realm cultivators. 2 of them were at the late stage and 3 were at the mid-stage. Silver Wing and the others could not compare to them. Silver Wing also had 5 Sun-Moon realm cultivators. However, they were all at the early stage, and the strongest one was only at the 3rd level of the Sun-Moon realm. The gap between them and the Herculean sect master was huge. One in the late stage of the Sun-Moon realm had the confidence to suppress these 5 people. 8th elder smiled and said, "Herculean sect master, tell us your conditions. Earth, Fire and I will each have a load. Of course, we will only take it after we enter the 9th stage of the Sun-Moon realm. If we can't, we don't have to give it to you." The 8th elder frowned slightly. It couldn't be seen from the mask, but he knew that huge strength was hesitating. The 8th elder quickly said, "This is very difficult. I'm also dissatisfied with fellow Taoist. Even in the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, there are many 9th-level Sun-Moon elders waiting for a carrier, waiting for the chance to become quasi-invincible. This requires meritorious service and huge contributions, including me and the 3rd elder of the Law Enforcement Department. The purpose of coming to the human realm this time is also for a carrier. 3rd elder and I are both missing a carrier to reach the peak. A 9th-level Sun-Moon cultivator needed 2 carrying objects, one to carry the past and the other to carry the future. As for the present body, it was something that he had cultivated himself, so he did not need it. He and the 3rd elder had only carried a body for a lifetime, so they still needed a carrying object. It was only a meritorious service. The 8th elder said sincerely, Only by making a great contribution will you get the opportunity to buy it. It's an opportunity, not a gift to you. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion does business without cheating. The price is expensive, but it doesn't cheat people. One is one. On the side, Suyu smiled playfully and interrupted, "Eighth Elder, can I say something?" "Speak." "I think the huge strength sect master and the others are probably daydreaming too much," Suyu said bluntly, "carrying objects. In the invincible remains, I heard that the most important treasure is the carrying objects. In the ordinary invincible remains, there are only 2 carrying objects. But they dare to ask for 2 carrying objects with only 2 7th-level suns and moons. Do they want to give you an invincible remains? Do you want to take down the mansion and give it to you?" Suyu snorted, "My superior, the elder in black armor, has done countless meritorious deeds. He is at the 8th level of the Sun-Moon realm and has made great contributions to the Heaven Hunting Pavilion. But up to now, he hasn't gotten a single carrier. You dare to think and dare to say. Let me ask, why? Forget about the Sun-Moon Mystic Yellow Liquid and the Heaven Yuan Qi. If you ask for a carrier, does the Heaven Hunting Pavilion open a charity hall?" The sect leader's tone was a little unfriendly. "Xianjiu, don't forget your strength. You have just entered the Sun-Moon, how can the white-faced man of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion treat a late-stage Sun-Moon expert like this? Arrogant." Suyu said coldly, "So what if you are a late-stage Sun-Moon expert?" "Sect leader, to put it bluntly, there are quite a few elders in my pavilion, and we don't lack 2. It's fine if you are obedient, but if you aren't, try and see if your myriad clan sect can escape this calamity this time." Xianjiu. 8th Elder berated, "What nonsense are you spouting? Don't you understand the difference between the strong and the weak? There are no rules." Suyu bowed and cupped his hands. He smiled and said, "What 8th Elder is teaching is that at the later stage of the Sun and Moon realm, you're a frog in a well. You always feel that you're a mighty figure, but in reality, you're very strong. In the future, you might even be my superior." "I'm just joking, everyone, please forgive me." Suyu's playful smile made the sect master of Huge Strength sect a little angry. What an arrogant fellow. 8th Elder did not mind. He needed to be good-natured and good-natured. It was a normal negotiation method. If he could not even tolerate this, then this huge strength was nothing. Since he wanted to take the initiative to join them, then he had to bear everything. 8th Elder berated him again and interrupted Suyu's words. He smiled and said, "Sect Master of Huge Strength Sect, how about this? If the Heaven Hunting Pavilion can take down the mansion of the civilization and seize the tombstone, and if there is a carrier in it, then you and the Earth Fire Sect Master and the others have made a great contribution, we can distribute it to you according to your merits." The Sect Master of Huge Strength Sect said in a deep voice, "Are you serious? How do you calculate the merits?" The 8th Elder smiled and said, "This depends on the final harvest. How much effort each of you put in, and if the harvest is little, then the harvest will naturally be little. If the harvest is great, for example, if we get all the things in the relic this time, the harvest will probably be more than the value of 5 carriers. At that time, how much effort you and the Earth Fire Sect Master put in will be distributed according to this." Julie fell into deep thought. After a while, he said, "If the human race attacked us, for example, Woody, would the Heaven Hunting Pavilion have Woody? We've killed too many people. In the past few years, we've offended too many people in the human realm." The 8th Elder smiled faintly. "Yes, but the premise is, you're very important. If you only have a name and no contribution, I'm sorry. No organization would offend Woody for the sake of the Sun and Moon." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2112. 2112 Chapter 465, Acting Righteously 2. Understood. Huge Strength sighed. Then what are we going to do now that we've joined? Are we going to be like Silver Wing and the others, encircling and killing some of the fish that escaped the net of the Myriad clan cult? No. The eighth elder smiled. Currently, the matters of the Great Xia Manor are being handled by Xianjiu. Him. Huge Strength said unhappily, we're in the late stage of the Sun-Moon realm. Don't tell me we're also under his command. Eighth elder hesitated for a moment before saying, it's like this now. After we return, we don't need to listen to him. Because at this moment, the entire plan is in progress. We can't change the entire plan just because of you. Julie was still a little displeased, while Suyu said unhappily, Eighth elder, let's forget about it. I'm afraid that if I can't control it, it'll only create more trouble for me. These people are different from Bai Mian. They're more than capable of ruining things. Julie wanted to curse. We don't dislike you, alright, we dislike you too. But we're so strong, how can you despise us? Eighth elder smiled, Xianjiu, don't be rude. If the sect master of Julie and the others join us, they'll be our family in the future. Suyu said calmly, then I hope they can be obedient. If they don't, it's better for eighth elder to lead them personally. I don't want to fall into a desperate situation because of them. I don't think so. Eighth elder said meaningfully, sect master Julie and the others are sensible people. How can they be like this? It's only temporary. If you join the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, you can award White Mask now and put him under the name of the Black Armor first. Julie hesitated, Black Armor? Why not Eighth Elder? Eighth Elder smiled, if he puts him in the Law Enforcement Division, it will be difficult to deal with the rest. The Law Enforcement Division can enter but not leave. The 4 divisions can be adjusted. Julie's puppet nodded. After hesitating for a moment, he said, Eighth Elder, I have a small question. Please speak. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion is the most well-informed. I want to buy a piece of information. This is a small matter. Julie thought for a moment and said, no, this matter might have a great impact. I want to get accurate information. Eighth Elder was surprised and quickly said, tell me. I'm not specifically in charge of this, but it's the same even if you tell me. If it's important, I can personally communicate with the minister of the Huang department. The minister is in charge of this area. Julie pondered for a moment and transmitted his voice, I want to ask, is the 3rd generation head of the Great Xia Civilization Academy dead? N. The 8th elder naturally knew about this kind of news. He was a little puzzled and also transmitted his voice, of course he's dead. This point has been recorded. No, I still want to ask. The 8th elder will help me check. In addition, I also want to check the identity of the original cult master. You mean? This isn't considered a secret. During the meeting yesterday, the Blue Sky sect leader suggested that the primordial sect leader might be from the southern borderless realm. I think that this news will spread very quickly. Right now, only the Heaven Hunting Pavilion has a chance of finding out. If the primordial sect leader is from the southern borderless realm, then, it can be considered as letting us give up completely. The Myriad Clan sect might be a joke from the beginning to the end. Huge Strength sighed. He sighed in his heart. If the primordial sect really was from the boundless south, then the Myriad Clan sect would have become a joke all these years. The person whom they relied on the most was someone from the Great Xia Manor. What was there to struggle for? They couldn't even be bothered to struggle anymore. Eighth Elder's heart was also slightly shaken. The boundless south. He didn't die. Not only did he not die, he even became the leader of the Myriad Clan sect, the primordial sect leader. At this moment, even the 8th elder couldn't remain calm. Why were there so many things happening in the human race? There were too many things that were messed up. Was everyone so sinister? Was the southern boundless region faking their deaths? He was a little speechless, but he quickly said, all right, I'll help you consult the Huang tribe immediately. We don't know much about the intelligence either. As for the specific situation, wait for my reply. Su Yu was a little curious when the two of them communicated. What were they talking about? And so secretive. The two of you were fighting so intensely. Have you considered me? I'm the one in charge now. Alright, I'm too weak. The two of you probably feel that you don't need to pay attention to me. He once again urged Xian Jia, Elder, the two of them are chatting without you. Xian Jia couldn't be bothered with him. Elder, guess what the two of them are talking about? He still couldn't be bothered. Silver Wing, on the other hand, seemed to sense Xian Jia's curiosity. Suddenly, he transmitted his voice, Sir, a young cult leader told me something earlier. Because I wasn't sure if the news was true or false, I didn't say it. Huge Strength might be talking about this. What? Very quickly, Silver Wing cult leader told Xian Jiao everything. It wasn't a secret. He only felt that it was best not to tell Xian Jiao too much about such uncertain news. At the very least, he would wait until the news was confirmed. There were so many cult masters who had gone yesterday. Who could be hidden from Lan Tian? Su Yu was stunned. F***ck. What was going on? In the next moment, he was in a daze. Was this a deliberate diversion? In that case, could Lan Tian really be one of them? Of course, it was hard to say if the original cult master was really one of them. Perhaps it was Lan Tian who had framed him, or perhaps it wasn't. This was hard to determine. However, Lan Tian had suddenly pushed out the original cult master. This guy could really be in cahoots with the 10,000 heavenly saints. Right now, the invincible betrayer might still be testing the 10,000 heavenly saints. After all, he was still a suspect. The 10,000 heavenly saints' aptitude was too high. However, once he shifted his attention to the original cult master, regardless of whether he was really from the southern borderless, he would become the focus of the invincible betrayer. The suspicion of the 10,000 heavenly saints was instantly reduced to the minimum. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2113. 2113 Chapter 465 Righteousness 3. Su Yu understood now. He muttered in his heart, little fellow, these two are still hiding things from me. He quickly looked at the Silver Wing cult master and spoke directly. He smiled and said, Silver Wing, you've done well. Report to me immediately if there's anything the next time. Whether the news is true or false, I'll decide for myself. As he finished speaking, he casually threw out a drop of the sun-moon profound yellow liquid. Silver Wing was stunned. This was way too extravagant. Was this considered information fees? On the other side, Eighth Elder was talking with Ju Li. He was stunned for a moment and couldn't help but curse in his heart. Did this Xian Jiao think that he was about to die and didn't treat money as money? This fellow had earned quite a bit last time, but that didn't mean that he could casually throw out the sun-moon profound yellow liquid. As for Ju Li, he was also slightly stunned. What was going on? Su Yu smiled and said, interesting. Primordial Sect Master, Southern Borderless. This is too interesting. I like to judge whether it's true or not. If I can confirm the identity of the Primordial Sect Master, I think that selling a few hundred drops of sun-moon blood essence is a small problem. Ju Li instantly knew what Silver Wing was talking about. Holy shit. We all know this information, but if you pass it on, do you also have a drop of sun-moon mystic yellow liquid? Su Yu smiled faintly and said, Eighth Elder, if the Heaven Hunting Pavilion headquarters is unable to confirm this news, I would like to bring some people to probe the situation. If the news is true, then the original cult master has hidden it so deeply. He must have a plan. The human realm is getting more and more interesting. Eighth Elder was mentally exhausted. Forget it, everyone already knew about it, so he couldn't be bothered to say anything more. Soon after, he said, I will consult the Yellow Division first. If the news is unable to be confirmed, you can think of a way to verify it. If you can confirm the identity of the original. This is also an extremely important piece of information. Suyu smiled and said, all right, Eighth Elder, this fellow is a dangerous figure. He might even be thinking of plotting against the Invincible sect. His battle prowess is extremely formidable. If you really want to test him, the huge strength sect master and the others will lend him to me first. Adding on these 5, along with the Black Armored Elder, there will be 12 Sun Moon primary stage, 5 intermediate stage, and 3 advanced stage, including me, there will be 21 Sun Moon primary stage cultivators. If we meet that person, we won't have to be afraid of anything. He didn't count, and even the 8th Elder didn't care about it. Once he did, he began to mutter in his heart. 21 Sun Moon Realm cultivators. This faction was a little too powerful. Of course, Xianjiu was just an executor. It was acceptable that he couldn't really control these people. Otherwise, Xianjiu, who was only at the early stage of Sun Moon Realm, would wield such great power. Even he would be afraid of him. Then what about the Southern Origin Realm? Suyu smiled and said, there's no rush. Let's clear out the outer regions first and then work together to deal with the group of people from the Southern Origin Realm. The Southern Origin Realm will fall into chaos sooner or later, but if the relics don't appear, the probability of it falling into chaos is not high. When the relics appear, it will be the time for chaos. As he said that, he smiled and said, let the human realm fall into chaos first. I heard that there are some internal conflicts among the human race. Many human experts are forcing the Xia family to open Suyu's home. Let's see the situation first and wait for the situation to change. The 8th Elder nodded, he looked at Zhu Li and said, the patriarch of the Herculean sect is familiar with the Myriad clan. He also knows more about the primitive patriarch than us. Then this time, if the patriarch has no objections, how about helping Xianjiu first? Primitive or not, it is a variable, including blue sky. I still hope to solve the problems of these two. The sect master looked at Suyu and was silent for a while. Then, he nodded and said, sure. If it's just to help, then there won't be any problems. It was his last face. I'm at the 7th level of the Sun Moon Realm. I won't be under your command. I'll only help. Now, it's Quasi-Invincible who asked me to help you. That's why I agreed. Then, I'll have to trouble the sect master and the other sect masters to make it clear that during the period of the human realm, Xianjiu will arrange your tasks for a short period of time. Sure. This time, the mighty sect master did not say anything else. His agreement also meant that the others had agreed. In fact, the few of them had always been together, and this was just his puppet body. The 8th Elder smiled. Not bad at all. This time, Xianjiu had chosen a good starting point. He had grasped the timing very well, and at this critical moment, he had actually taken down the human race's Myriad tribe sect. To be honest, it was only at this point. Everyone was paying attention to Nan Yuan. They didn't have the time, energy, or strength to interfere in these matters. Normally, it wouldn't be that easy for the Heaven Hunting Pavilion to take down these people. And the Heaven Hunting Pavilion had the right timing, location, and people. At this critical moment, the two magnates of the Myriad clan sect were suspected of being spies. Otherwise, if one of these two stood out, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion wouldn't have had to deal with them. The blue sky's explosive point was too good. No wonder this group of people chose to join the Heaven Hunting Pavilion this time. In this way, 2 late-stage Sun Moon Realm cultivators, 3 middle-stage Sun Moon Realm cultivators, and 5 early-stage Sun Moon Realm cultivators, a total of 10 Sun Moon Realm cultivators, just enough to offset the loss of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion this time. After the Heaven Hunting Pavilion entered the human realm, an elder died, and one of them betrayed another. In addition, 1 or 2 law enforcers were killed, and several white-masked Sun-Moon realm cultivators were killed. With this, their strength was almost restored. It seemed that Suyu hadn't done anything, but he had taken the powerful 10,000 clans sect under his wing. The 8th elder was very satisfied. Not to mention, the 10,000 clans sect had a dense intelligence network of human realm experts, and there were quite a number of mountains, seas, and Lingyun. This time, all of them had been taken over by the heaven hunting pavilion, and they hadn't suffered any losses. It was too profitable. The heaven hunting pavilion could be considered to have gained a firm foothold in the human realm. All the major forces probably weren't as powerful as the heaven hunting pavilion in the human realm. The more 8th elder thought about it, the more satisfied he was. Soon, he sent a message to Suyu, Xianjiu, I have to give you 2 late-stage Sun-Moon cultivators some face. These people will be your colleagues in the future. Also, don't trust them completely. Tell Xianjia to keep a close eye on them. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2114 2114 Chapter 465 Righteousness 4. Yes. 8th elder, don't worry, Xianjiu knows what to do. That's good. Also, if the identity of the original cult master cannot be confirmed, there's no need to force it. Even if the other party is truly from the southern borderless, he's not targeting us. Of course, we have to be careful. If he's from the southern borderless, his target this time will definitely be that invincible human. During the process of your investigation, you have to be careful of that invincible human. Suyu smiled and said, I know. I'll also check that person's identity. If the news is true and that person is in the human realm, I suspect that he might come personally to test the primitive world. 8th elder, you and 3rd elder must be online at all times. I might ask for help. Okay. 8th elder agreed readily. This time, the heaven hunting pavilion wanted to obtain all the benefits of the relic. These people were also the ones they had to face. Now that they had the most accurate information, it was even better than the trouble they would encounter later. After all, the 3rd elder still had 10 late-stage Sun-Moon realm experts with him. If they really lost all of them, he and the 3rd elder would be in big trouble. The heaven hunting pavilion's Sun-Moon realm strength would instantly be reduced by half. After the deal was settled, Huge Strength and the others did not hesitate. Soon, the group of people met with Suyu and the others. This time, they all wore white masks. Unlike Silver Wing and the others, who were all black masks, Silver Wing and the others did not think much of their differential treatment. The weakest of these people was at the mid-stage of the Sun-Moon realm, and they were indeed much stronger than them. The 5 white masks were all temporarily under the name of Black Armor. Suyu teased telepathically, Black Armor Elder, you are probably the most powerful elder of the 4 divisions now. Including me, there are more than 20 Sun-Moon Elders under your command. There are also 2 late-stage Sun-Moon Elders. Including you, there are 3 of them. Are you the Sun and Moon sect? Xianjia said bluntly, are you trying to flatter yourself? Don't you know if you are the Sun and Moon sect? Do you have the nerve to say that you are the Sun and Moon sect? But then again, he was indeed the most powerful elder of the current factions. Other than Lan Tian and the original sect leader, the Myriad Clan sect was completely wiped out. Of course, small sects didn't count. In the eyes of Suyu and the others, small sects without the Sun and Moon were nothing. They were nothing but ant cannon fodder. Some small sects even dared to open a sect and they were in the air. These guys might not even be able to contact the 10,000 clans, some of them were just in name. On the whole, apart from the original devil cult and the original god cult, all the other sects were easily captured by Suyu. The 10,000 races cult, which had been developing for many years in the human realm, was instantly cut into 2. And then, a small piece of news began to spread. The Great Xia Civilization Academy, the Boundless South, didn't die. Suyu also received information from the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, but he couldn't confirm whether the Boundless South was dead or alive. That year, the Boundless South and a God Race quasi-invincible war took place in the Sea of Stars region. After that, the two of them perished together. On the human side, the Great Xia King rushed over and took away the divine war script left behind by the Boundless South. It was the Great Xia King again. Yes, the Great Xia King specialized in collecting corpses. Suyu seriously suspected that he was also the one who had collected the corpses of the fourth and second generations. Otherwise, how could there be a secret realm left behind? Was the Great Xia King specialized in collecting corpses? He was always one step late. Of course, according to the information, the Great Xia King and the Great Xia King had both died in the battle with the celestial race's invincible. After that, the two of them died in the battle, and he and the celestial race's invincible went to collect the corpses separately. The two of them became the corpse collectors. According to the Great Xia King and the Great Xia King, the sun and moon had crashed that day. However, because they had died together, they had crashed together. It was hard to say whether they were one or two. In the past, no one had thought too much about it. They had died together. Of course, they had crashed together in an instant. Since the experts were not around, who would stick close to them and specially look to see if one full moon or two had crashed? In any case, it would cause a huge commotion. They were not sure, but Suyu could not hold it in any longer. I can ask. Manor Head, are the third generation really not dead? I don't know. How can you not know that Lan Tian is with you? I'm not sure. Then I'll bring some people to surround and kill Lan Tian. Whatever. This was the answer that Myriad Heaven Saint gave. If you want to kill him, then kill him. Don't ask me, I don't know anything. Suyu was very depressed. Even now, Myriad Heaven Saint was still hiding it from me. What was he doing? He didn't care whether I killed Lan Tian or not. If he didn't think that I couldn't kill him, then he didn't think that it would be a problem even if I killed him. Lan Tian might not be a good thing either. Do you know the identity of the Black Armored Elder? I don't. Then what do you know? I only know that your Uncle Master seems to have arrived in southern Yuan. He might not be able to enter smoothly. Suyu was speechless. Uncle Master Qin Yong had arrived. Alright, this was indeed not a small matter. Uncle Master must have known that the ruins were fake. The one tombstone was given to him by Uncle Master. If he stuffed this thing in, Uncle Master wouldn't even know about it. Let's go to the South Origin City and take a look. While we're at it, let's see who's targeting the Xia family and who's targeting the Xia family now. In any case, Suyu did not think that they were good people. He found an opportunity and an excuse to bring more than 20 suns and moons to surround and kill them. They were just so willful. November 7th. South Origin City. There were more and more experts. The people of the South Origin City had all evacuated. On the Dragon Martial Guard side, they also evacuated when they were in the air. There was a decline in the air. In addition, there were 5,000 Air Force warriors that surrounded the South Origin City. On the Xia family's side, the remaining 2 late-stage Sun-Moon Realm Guards had also arrived. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2115. 2115 Chapter 465 Righteousness 5. At this moment, the entire southern plains was like a barrel of gunpowder, exploding at the slightest touch. There were many, many experts at the later stage of the Sun-Moon realm. The eyes of all the races in the heavens were focused on the southern plains. Other than not being invincible, this gathering of the Sun-Moon realm was the most in the past 300 years. On the human side, not only the Great Xia Manor, but all the major factions had experts rushing over. Chaos. It was also terrifying. Once a great battle broke out, who knew how many Sun-Moon realm experts would die here? Su Yu had arrived. This time, he didn't get too close to Nanyuan City because the city was currently in chaos. The Great Xia Manor was also chasing away those experts, not allowing them to enter the city. They assumed a stance of fighting to the end. The 5 guardians, along with Lord Xia, General Zhao, Manager Hu, and the others, all of these late-stage Sun-Moon realm experts erupted with pressure, shocking everyone in all directions. Outside the city, it was also very lively. Su Yu had just brought a few late-stage Sun-Moon powers closer. He heard someone shout, "Lord Xiaoho, is the Xia family still a part of the human race?" These multi-divine literature department geniuses are also the hope of the human race. We don't have any extravagant hopes for the ruins, but now that the aura of the tombstone has spread out, it can increase the strength of the multi-divine literature department. Would you rather vanish into thin air than gift it to these human geniuses? Lord Xiaoho said coldly, "Don't give me that crap. Genius? Hope for the future of the human race. What a joke. What has it got to do with me? My Great Xia Manor has many geniuses. Not just geniuses can enjoy benefits that come out of thin air. Is Su Yu a genius? Is he enough? What did he obtain?" Su Yu was surrounded and killed by the myriad races in the ancient city. How many human experts went to save him? Go and say that this is the human race's genius, the human race's hope. Lord Xiaoho sneered and said, "If you have the ability, go and fight for it yourself." The Great Xia Manor had many divine literature department. They had fought for many years and suffered countless casualties. At that time, they didn't hear you say that the many divine literature department was hope. Everyone gave some benefits to help Hong Tan and the others advance. When Lu Wenyan was expelled, no one said that Lu Wenyan was hope. Lu Wenyan should be given a chance. Master Ho, that's different. Someone said in a low voice, the human race paid a huge price to protect this lineage. Putting everything else aside, when Yi Batian attained Tao, the human race was invincible. Which one of them didn't go to save him? We can't just remember the suffering and forget the favor. Hong Tan and the others suffered not because of us, but because of Yi Batian. Master Ho, are you going to push all this on us? Master Xia Ho said faintly, that makes sense, so, work hard and fight for it. Don't think of giving benefits for free. Master Ho, do you have to do this? A Sun-Moon realm expert said unhappily, these geniuses. Shut up. Master Xia Ho said unhappily, open your mouth and shut up about geniuses. Fine, these people, kill a genius on the heaven hunting list now, and I'll admit that they are the hope of the human race. Kill one, and I'll let them in. Only through hard work will there be a return. Do you have any objections to my words? The moment these words were said, the surrounding geniuses of the 10,000 races revealed mocking expressions. Someone sneered and said, Lord Xiaoho's words are reasonable. Why don't we play around and see? If we are of the same level, we can choose any one of you. If you kill us, Lord Xiaoho will give you all benefits and opportunities. We are also willing to be free trial stones. Under normal circumstances, we don't care about trash. These words made the geniuses of the 10,000 races find joy. Geniuses were not afraid of death. The heaven hunting list was a true metal fire refinement. Those who could be on the list would only acknowledge the experts on the list because they had fought their way up. No one relied on luck to get there. They fought their way up to fame in the heavenly battlefield. Among the geniuses of the 10,000 races, they killed their way out and obtained 630 spots. Any of the geniuses on the list were not afraid of battle. Of course, the strength of these human geniuses was not easy to distinguish, so they were limited to the same level. Otherwise, they would dare to cross ranks and fight. Outside the crowd, Su Yu smiled. Lord Xiaoho was still brilliant. With these words, if you killed a genius of the myriad clans, we would let you in. As for whether you gained anything from going in, that was your business. What did it have to do with me? If everyone gained something and you didn't, then maybe your multi-divine literature department was different from our great Xia's. The multi-divine literature department of the great Xia's had benefits, did you see that? It was like the sun and the moon, except for that trash by Feng. These words also made those human geniuses feel somewhat strange. At this moment, someone laughed and said, Marquis, it might not only be beneficial to the multi-divine literature department. We fighters can also give it a try. Lord Xiahou glanced at Qin Fang, who was wearing black armor and riding a flying tiger. He said calmly, Qin Fang, if you kill your way into the heaven roll again, I will naturally let you in. It was heart-wrenching. Qin Fang laughed and said, Lord Marquis is really treating me differently. Isn't there an additional Dao Cheng on the heaven roll? I can't do anything about it. Brother Dao Cheng is too strong. Although he was beaten pitifully by Su Yu and almost died, he is still in the mountains and seas. He killed his master and advanced. How can I be his match? In the crowd, the experts from the immortal race looked at him coldly. Dao Cheng was also there, but at this moment, he seemed to have not heard anything. He was playing with a divine script in his hand. Qin Fang glanced at him and smiled. However, he was a bit vigilant in his heart. This guy was really calm. Su Yu didn't care about what they were doing. He was counting their heads, and very soon. He transmitted his voice, everyone, keep an eye on those humans who were looking for trouble. Kill them in secret and let the Xia family take the blame. Don't expose our heaven-hunting pavilion's identity. The Xia family didn't want to be bullied, so they assassinated them to create internal strife for the human race. Sir is wise. In the channel, a group of people echoed. They were good at creating chaos. Sir was about to make a big deal. Assassinating a human expert. As for Su Yu, he had a cold expression on his face. Without any hesitation, he killed them. These people, he didn't like them. So what if he killed them? The 10,000 clans were all watching the show. On the other hand, these fellows were causing a huge ruckus. It just so happened that he had an excuse. In any case, he didn't need to do it himself. Later on, he would kill all of these heaven-hunting pavilion members and take it as revenge for these humans. I am a person who does things righteously. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2116. 2116 Chapter 466 Ji Hong attacked 1. Outside the city, some of the geniuses from the small world were hesitant, while others were eager to give it a try. They still wanted to give it a try. Su Yu didn't have any ill feelings towards these people. Of course, he also didn't have any good feelings towards them. They were just strangers. He didn't have many opinions towards these geniuses. However, he was very displeased with the people behind these geniuses who were constantly instigating and forcing the Xia family. At this moment, it wasn't the usual human competition. Instead, it was the gathering of 10,000 clans. At this moment, forcing the Xia clan to become the laughing stock of the 10,000 clans, acting as the vanguard. These people weren't good people, and there were differences between close and distant. After all, Su Yu came from the great Xia clan, and now that he saw the Xia clan being forced by a fellow human, he naturally felt uncomfortable. Just as Su Yu gave the order, another human genius stood out. It was a young man in his 20s. His long hair draped over his shoulders. Under the voice transmission of the sun and moon behind him, he sighed softly and walked out. He looked at the geniuses of the 10,000 races around him. He said softly, Marquis Ping Zhao of the Deshang Mansion, 7th level Ling Yun. He paused and looked around. He looked at a genius of the 10,000 races in the crowd. Bo Tai, are you willing to fight? Bo Tai was at the 7th level of Lingyun realm and ranked 137th on the yellow roll. He was from the moon-eating demonic wolf clan. It was rare to see a genius from a small clan that wasn't one of the top 100. The moon-eating demonic wolf clan was ranked in the top 300 of the 10,000 races. They had a quasi-invincible leader and weren't considered too weak. This time, they were a subsidiary clan of the demon race and fought for the demon race. They had entered the human realm. When he heard Ho Ping's challenge, Bo Tai smiled. Without saying anything else, he stepped into the air. His eyes were bloodshot as he chuckled. He didn't say anything harsh, nor did he need to. The fact that a small clan had made it onto the heaven hunting roll was the best proof. In the War of the Worlds, the large clans had many resources, great talent, top-notch cultivation techniques, and top-notch weapons. What did a small clan have? To still be able to make it onto the heaven hunting roll, this was strength. Kill. There was no need for a judge. A low shout signified the start of the battle. Woo! In an instant, a demon wolf's true form appeared. Its sharp claws flickered with cold light and its speed was so fast that it was impossible to see clearly. It clawed at Ho Pingzhao. Ho Pingzhao had been in the small world for a long time and was also experienced in battles. At this moment, divine runes appeared and he quickly retreated. Divine runes instantly erupted. Suppression. Mountain moving. Sea of fire. All sorts of special characteristics erupted. At this moment, many people walked out to watch the battle. Both parties were at the Lingyun realm. Since the human realm dared to step out to challenge the yellow roll genius, they were naturally powerful people with some confidence and strength. In the city, even Bai Feng and Hong Tan walked out and looked over. Their eyes were a little complicated, but they were also watching the battle seriously. What exactly was the strength of the many divine when experts nurtured by these large manners? They also wanted to see. The various large manners used the 5th generation as a target to attract the attention of the myriad clans, but they did not give up on nurturing the many divine when experts. They had hidden it for many years, and this time, they were finally willing to take it out. Not only the Xia clan, many people from the various large manners were actually watching. They wanted to see how good this batch of people was. Su Yu was also looking. He also wanted to see just how strong this batch of people were. The human race gave up on the great Xia family's many divine inscriptions because they felt that they still had a backup plan and hope. The Xia family might not be the only ones who could become a civilized master of the Tao. There was also hope for the people they nurtured. Su Yu also wanted to know just how capable they were. After looking at it for a while, Su Yu felt that it was still all right. The outline of the divine literature battle technique was drawn. There were quite a number of divine literature. Ho Pingzhao's divine literature had almost all reached rank 3, and they were all Lingyun realm divine literature. There were roughly 12 to 14 of them. It was currently impossible to determine if they were all of them. The carrier of the divine literature battle technique was a long sword. It could be considered as an offensive type. It was within the rules. It was not too strong, but it was not weak either. It also had battle experience. It seemed that it was not wasted in the small world. It was not the kind of civilized master that Su Yu had imagined who only cultivated in seclusion. He had probably participated in many battles. In the air, a man and a wolf were fighting. The sounds of battle rumbled. The momentum of the battle surpassed some of the weaker Lingyun 8 Dan and 9 Dan cultivators. This Ho Pingzhao dared to make a move. He was indeed capable. Teacher. What do you think? At this moment, Bai Feng also looked at Hong Tan and asked for his opinion. Hong Tan looked at him for a while and nodded slightly. The various manners aren't stupid and aren't trash. However, they're just average. There's nothing too outstanding about them. They were all within the rules. This could be considered a good evaluation, but it wasn't too good either. Geniuses were all stunning. From the looks of it, Ho Pingzhao could only be considered to be able to display the battle prowess of the multi-divine literature faculty normally. He relied on the abundance of divine literature and its many characteristics, and it seemed like he still had the upper hand, suppressing Bo Tai. However, Hong Tan quickly said, "This can't go on. Divine literature masters expend willpower, especially the multi-divine literature faculty. They are actually fierce at the front, but weak at the back. Bo Tai is a fighter with a powerful physical body. Don't look as if he's being suppressed now. Even though his physical body is slightly damaged, his blood, qi, and yuan qi aren't depleted much. In another 30 moves, Ho Pingzhao still doesn't have a trump card. If I kill him in one move, I'll be killed instead." Bai Feng nodded his head. Divine literature masters, especially those from the multiple divine literature department, were like this. Killing him in one move. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to fight for a long time. Not everyone was Su Yu. After learning Zhao Li's spirit augmentation technique, he had forcefully smashed his sea of consciousness to become even stronger than the initial stage of the mountain and sea realm. Even Bai Feng rarely fought with others. He would always go all out at the start. If he could win, he would win. If he couldn't win, after 3 moves, it was better to run. Bai Feng had also entered Ling Yun. At this moment, he commented, "I still have a lot of battle experience. I feel that he has more than me. However, I have yet to grasp the essence of the multi-divine literature department." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2117. 2117 Chapter 466 Ji Hong attacked 2. Hong Tan smiled and said, "Essence? What essence are you talking about?" Bai Feng thought for a moment. Slowly, he said, "Crazy. He's too conventional. There are some dogmas that he follows step by step. He even wants to display all of the characteristics of the divine runes to let everyone know that he has more divine runes, and more characteristics. However, there are some divine runes that don't need to be displayed. They are only useful in certain situations. It's better to combine combat techniques and slaughter for a while. If you can't beat him, then run." Hong Tan did not reply. After looking for a while, he opened his mouth and said, "This fellow's teacher should be Shang Yunxiao from the Shang clan." The branch of the great Shang clan might have been secretly taught by Shang Yunxiao. Shang Yunxiao, a researcher from the Great Xia Civilization Academy, left the Great Xia clan 42 years ago and returned to the Great Shang clan. He was of the same generation as your grandmaster. When he left, he was at the peak of the mountain and sea realm. At that time, the multicolored divine script was also at its most suppressed. When he left, I thought that he could not stand the suppression. It seems that he went to secretly nurture these multicolored divine script students. Bai Feng nodded. He still had some understanding of these older polytheistic literature experts. After the 5th generation died, Lu Wenyan was expelled. Hong Tan was young, and the polytheistic literature department had no one to carry the tripod. The origin of the polytheistic literature department, the Great Xia Manor, quickly dispersed. Some of the experts who came to the Great Xia Manor to study left one after another. They weren't considered the direct descendants of the 5th generation, but some people had received the guidance of the 5th generation. The number of people from the polytheistic literature department back then wasn't too small. Now, these hidden geniuses of the human realm, and many of their teachers, were actually from the Great Xia Mansion. While they were talking, the Sun-Moon realm expert from the Great Shang Mansion looked at them for a while and suddenly shouted, "Come back, admit defeat." Sun-Moon realm experts had very good eyesight. As soon as he finished speaking, the demon wolf that had been taking a beating all this time suddenly roared, and its howl shook the heaven and earth. A woo! A wolf howl shook Ho Pingzhao's body, and his eyes dimmed. At that moment, Bo Tai, who was covered in blood, instantly stretched out his huge claw, and his speed was 3 times faster than before. In the blink of an eye, he clawed at Ho Pingzhao's head. The sun and moon of the great merchant house's expression changed slightly, and they reached out to grab. At that moment, a demon god appeared in the void, and he punched out. "This lord will not coddle you." The demonic god sneered, "Since you have challenged me, how can this lord interfere?" Boom! With a loud bang, the sun and moon of the great merchant manor were sent flying by a punch. At the same time, Ho Pingzhao suddenly came to his senses. With a furious roar, the 14 divine runes sword slashed down with all its might. Puchi! The claw fell first, and Botai's claw smashed his head into pieces. The divine runes sword pierced through Botai's claw with a Puchi sound. Botai refused to let go. He didn't care about anything else, and once again clawed at his sea of consciousness ball. If he wanted to kill him, the wolf's eyes were filled with ridicule and indifference. "I'm just playing with you." His strength wasn't weak, but he had too many tricks up his sleeve. There were indeed many tricks up his sleeve in the multi-divine literature department. Because there were many divine literature department, they had many characteristics. Therefore, some multi-divine literature department cultivators like to use these characteristics of divine literature to deal with their opponents. However, under normal circumstances, only when dealing with the weak could they show their strength. When dealing with the strong, there were many types of divine inscriptions. That was because they had lost their own strength. Botai's claw clawed towards his sea of consciousness. At this moment, a youth suddenly jumped out from the crowd at an extremely fast speed. With the pull of the divine inscriptions, Ho Pingzhao's sea of consciousness disappeared. He was pulled away by him. The demon god in the air smiled, he did not intervene. That youth stood out and looked at the demon wolf. Botai grabbed nothing and looked at the youth. His eyes were filled with killing intent as he said coldly, "You also want to come and throw your life away?" Ho Pingzhao did not die. His body was completely shattered, similar to Dan Xiong's. Even so, he still suffered a crushing defeat. If not for the youth's rescue, he would have already been killed. That youth frowned and said with a grave expression, "Yellow roll." It was grave. Ho Pingzhao was not arrogant enough to challenge the heaven and earth roll. There was no profound roll. Instead, he chose a genius at the back of the yellow roll, or a small clan. In the end, in the fierce battle, his body was crushed by the demon wolf. Same level. The multi-divine literature department was known to be invincible among those of the same level. However, today, when they encountered those of the same level, the members of the small clan suffered a crushing defeat. This time, the surrounding geniuses had strange looks in their eyes. Among them, Ho Pingzhao wasn't considered weak. On the contrary, he was one of the best. In the end, he suffered a crushing defeat. The youth frowned and said, "I'm at the 9th level of Ling Yun. Do you want to accept the challenge?" Demon Wolf Botai transformed into his human form and revealed a bloodthirsty smile. 9th level of Ling Yun, multiple divine arts department. Very strong. I'll let it go. I can find someone to play with you. The youth's expression changed slightly. You're not willing to accept the challenge. Botai sneered. I just fought and expended a lot of energy. I'll let you off this time. Brother Huakong, why don't you play with him? In the crowd, a demon expert walked out with a cold smile on his face. Huakong, Earth Fire Demon, 9th level Ling Yun, 14th on the yellow roll. Human Dao brother, come and play with me. The youth's expression was solemn. Huakong sneered. Come and play. I didn't even let Maudwa and the others come. I'm only on the yellow roll, why aren't you happy to play with me? Didn't you feel great when you intervened just now? Multi-divine literature. Invincible among those of the same level? Huakong smiled faintly and said, "Come, kill me and you'll be able to enter the yellow roll." Are you a multi-divine literature genius who can't even enter the yellow roll? Don't tell me you want to fight against those of the 7th level with the 9th level. That won't do. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to enter the roll. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2118. 2118 Chapter 466 Ji Hong Attacked 3. Geniuses have to fight above their ranks. No matter how bad it is, they have to fight at the same level, right? Huakong's laughter was sharp. The youth did not speak. Around him, many of the divine literature geniuses had solemn expressions on their faces. Yellow roll. Bo Tai was only ranked in the top 100 just now, but this person was now ranked in the top 20. Heaven, earth, black, and yellow, this was only the weakest roll. Previously, when Modwa from the heaven roll made his move, everyone knew how powerful he was. However, they did not expect that even the yellow roll was so difficult to deal with. There were geniuses from the 10,000 clans who laughed and said, "Go on, fight. After killing Huakong, entering the Suyu clan will bring benefits. Go on, beat Huakong to death. If the demons interfere, we will all stop them. We don't want to learn from the great merchant house. If we can't win, Sun and Moon will still want to interfere. Don't worry, we won't. We can't wait for Huakong to be killed. If someone else were to appear on the rankings, we would be tired of seeing so many familiar faces." These geniuses laughed wantonly. They were all crazy. Even Huakong didn't care about this. He said with a faint smile, "We can try. If you kill me, I won't let the demon experts take action. I'm not as crazy as the blood-fire demon race. I like to court death, but those of the same level and no name can't even win. They deserve to die." The youth was extremely solemn, but in the end, he chose to retreat. Trash. Besides Suyu, Bai Mian sneered. Suyu didn't say anything. He wasn't considered trash. If he was courting death, why bother? He could see that this youth's 9th level Lingyun realm was a little weak. It wouldn't be a problem for him to deal with an ordinary 9th level Lingyun, but to deal with a demon expert who was at the top of the yellow roll and had been through many battles, he would definitely die. Was the yellow roll very weak? Alright, it was quite weak. However, one had to understand that only 630 people were on the yellow roll in the competition between the geniuses of the 10,000 races. If any human could kill an expert on the yellow roll, then what was there to play with? As for Suyu, let alone Suyu, his strength and realm didn't match at all. The gap was too big. Suyu smiled faintly and said, "He's not trash. This is called self-awareness. Why must he throw his life away?" The white-masked man beside him said in a low voice, "Sir, it seems that this group of so-called geniuses that have been hidden are only so." Suyu smiled and said, "Don't say that. It's normal for them to hide their strength. They are not stupid. Do you think that the experts among them are willing to be like Suyu and the others, being feared by the 10,000 races and being chased by the 10,000 races? Some of them are still hiding." Suyu could see that there was still a group of strong fellows, but none of them made a move. Just as he said, they were too strong. They were from the multi-divine language branch. Did they want to be like the current 5th generation branch, being hunted down by the 10,000 races? When these words came out, even the black armor couldn't help but say, "If we hide and hide, then there's no need to come out. It's better to continue staying in the small world." "You can't say that." Suyu smiled and said, "Some of the big manners mean to let them broaden their horizons. Actually, after this time, these guys have broadened their horizons and learned about the strength of those geniuses in the outside world. They can be considered to have put in a lot of effort. The first time, these people learned about the gap. The second time they came out, they were mentally prepared. Xian Jia nodded and said telepathically, "Why are you still defending them? Shouldn't you hate them?" Su Yu looked at him in surprise. He said telepathically, "For example, an orphanage, hundreds of children, and a group of adults. One of the children was not liked and was not given food. The food was given to the other children. It was done by those adults. These children did not know a thing. Was there a need to hate them? Later, this child who was not liked became a peerless expert. A big shot. Would he take revenge on the children who ate his food? What do those children know? Of course, they would take revenge on those adults. It's not good." Xian Jia was speechless. After a long while, he transmitted his voice. Under normal circumstances, wouldn't big shots not even take revenge on those adults? They would just laugh it off. After all, big shots have the bearing of big shots. Su Yu smiled. He said telepathically, "Under normal circumstances, that's true. But, one day, a group of hooligans beat up the orphanage. All of them beat up that child who had no food to eat. Those adults watched and watched coldly, saying that it had nothing to do with us. The father of this child was not a good person back then. He provoked those hooligans and now he's been beaten to death. He's asking for it. If it were you, would you be resentful?" Xian Jia racked his brains and quickly replied, "Those adults didn't have the obligation to protect this child, right? You can say that, but, an adult stood up and protected this child. Then, all the adults ostracized this fellow who stood up, suppressed him, and even wanted to kill him. So, do you think we should take revenge?" "You mean the Xia family?" "The one who stood up was the Xia family." Su Yu smiled again. He transmitted his voice, "Elder, so, it's actually not a big deal if you don't protect him. Orphans are better off relying on the heavens and the earth than on themselves. It's fine if you don't give them food. It's fine if you don't protect them. However, it's fine if you don't protect them. Then, the people who stood up to protect you will still be suppressed, bullied, and humiliated by you. So, do you think this child should take revenge on these people?" The black armor was speechless. He didn't say anything else. Su Yu didn't say anything else. As he said, some of the fifth generation's troubles were left behind by the fifth generation. In fact, it was nothing. He was unlucky to have met such an old ancestor, so he could only bear it. However, the Xia family stood up to protect this bloodline. In the end, it wasn't that the human realm wasn't targeted. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2119. 2119 Chapter 466 Ji Hong attacked 4. The dispute that lasted for many years was targeted. Using Xia Long's martial arts to force him was also targeted. If that was the case, then it didn't make sense. After a moment of silence, Xian Jia suddenly transmitted his voice, "Those hooligans are too powerful, and those adults are no match for them. These hooligans are threatening to kill the other children if they don't hand over this child. If it were you, what would you choose?" Su Yu thought for a moment. He transmitted his voice, "Those hooligans are actually also afraid of these adults. If it were me, even if I'm unwilling to step out, even if I don't want to step out, I can secretly inform this child and let him secretly leave. There's no need for him to hand over the child and let others beat him to death. This isn't something that humans do, right? Even if it's just secretly informing him, perhaps this child will still remember our friendship." This time, Xian Jia took a deep breath and did not say anything else. Perhaps Su Yu was right. He only sighed and sighed because he actually did not want to see this scene. Perhaps, because he was not a person who had experienced it personally. Hong Tan and the others might have the same thoughts as Su Yu. The conversation between the two ended here. And the competition between the geniuses of the 10,000 clans also ended here. Su Yu was bored and transmitted his voice, "Everyone, think of a way to lure these guys out and find a place to surround and kill them. Frame them to the Xia clan." Yes. The group of people were also eager to give it a try. They were very willing to create trouble with Xianjiu. There were many experts, but no one cared about killing people. It was very satisfying, especially the group of people from the myriad clans. In the past, they didn't dare to kill the experts of these large clans. Now, the opportunity had come. The competition between geniuses was over. Su Yu couldn't be bothered to care too much. These geniuses weren't in the mainstream this time. Perhaps they thought that they were, but in Su Yu's eyes, they were just bystanders. Including Modwen Na, even if they could fight the sun and moon, they were just so. He, Su Yu, had a 60-year-old body. If he didn't swallow the blood essence, he might not be able to participate. Even if he did, it might not be enough. There was still a way to lure those people away. Su Yu began to plan. First, he would lure out a group of people and surround and kill them to reduce the pressure on the Xia family. At the same time that Su Yu was planning, the attention of all the worlds was focused on the southern Yuan dynasty. On the human realm side, under the situation where the others were not too concerned, many of the primitive god sect strongholds were destroyed. A large number of primitive believers were killed. It wasn't just that. Great Xia Manor, prefectural city. There had been some unrest recently. Because a large number of experts had left, there were very few experts in the prefectural city. In such a large prefectural city, there were only a few sun and moon experts. Under such circumstances, many bloody cases had occurred recently. A large number of experts were sent out to suppress the surrounding areas. As the director of the Department of Strength Nurturing, a sun and moon realm expert, Ji Hong also had a mission to patrol the surrounding areas. At this moment, Ji Hong was currently patrolling the nearby northern Wind City. Last time, he was surrounded and killed by Kai Yi and a few others. This time, because all the experts had left, as the sun and moon realm expert, he was once again responsible for patrolling the safety of these places. After all, these large cities had countless citizens and lacked experts. Outside northern Wind City, Ji Hong was once again patrolling the surroundings as per usual. Suddenly, the air rippled, and a streak of sword chi shot towards the sky. Ji Hong seemed to have been prepared for this, and he quickly retreated. In the blink of an eye, a huge seal descended, and with a rumbling sound, the huge seal flew backwards. Ji Hong fled, and his voice was ice-cold as he asked, "Who told you to come?" Silence. In the darkness, another streak of sword light lit up. Ji Hong once again fled. With a poochie sound, the incomparably powerful sword light pierced through his back. Ji Hong bled profusely, but he did not fight back. He said again, "It seems that the news has really been leaked. I haven't found out who it is. You are just confessing. Even if you kill me, soon, the information I found will be leaked." In the darkness, someone said coldly, "Ji Hong, don't you care about yourself and the Ji family? You can try." Ji Hong didn't stop. He said coldly, "You are Zhao Tianfeng of the Howling Wind Sword. Don't think that I can't recognize you. As expected, you are one of the traitors. 50 years ago, you were one of the experts active in the heavenly battlefield. I have screened a group of people. You are also one of the people I have targeted. Zhao Tianfeng, you are already at the 5th level of the Sun-Moon realm. What can that person give you? As long as you tell me who he is, you will be considered to have made up for it." Made up for it? In the darkness, a cold voice rang out. "There's no need. Ji Hong, you know too much. Whine." Another sword hum rang out as Zhao Tianfeng slashed out with his sword. His heart was slightly shaken. As expected, Ji Hong had found out a lot of things. He had been extremely low-key these past few years and rarely made a move, but Ji Hong had actually recognized him in an instant. It seemed that aside from Ji Hong not being able to confirm his lord's identity, the others. He had locked onto many of them. Ji Hong swiftly fled, and his body was riddled with bloody wounds from the sword chi. Even his Sun-Moon physical body was unable to withstand the sword chi. He was only at the second level of the Sun-Moon realm, but the other party was at the fifth level of the Sun-Moon realm. There was a huge gap between them. Zhao Tianfeng has come out. Ji Hong wanted to send a message, but he realized that there was no way he could send a message through the voice transmission amulet. Sighing deeply, he realized that the other party's strength was even greater than he had imagined. There was also a sun and moon that was sealing off the void. Furthermore, it was likely to be even stronger than Zhao Tianfeng. Was he going to die here today? 50 years ago, the Invincible One. Zhao Tianfeng was subdued as well. Is it him? He recalled the information he had gathered on the Invincible Ones, and even now, he wasn't too sure. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2120. 2120 Chapter 466, Ji Hong attacked 5. If that was the case, he could only sigh helplessly in his heart. Forget it. Any unrivaled betrayal was a huge matter. There was no difference at all. A moment later, a huge hand appeared in the air and covered the entire area. Behind him, a figure appeared with a long sword in his hand. It was Zhao Tianfeng, an expert who had been stationed in the Myriad Heavens battlefield in the past. Kill! With a low shout, Zhao Tianfeng slashed out with his sword. Die! Ji Hong shouted as he smashed out with a huge seal in his hand. With a loud bang, Ji Hong was sent flying and he spat out a mouthful of blood. In the next moment, the huge hand smashed towards him. Ji Hong's face was filled with despair. This was another Sun-Moon realm expert, at least at the 6th level of the Sun-Moon realm. How many people had the human race betrayed? An invincible betrayal involved more than just him. The other party had many subordinates. One person represented the betrayal of a prefecture, which was 1/36 of the human realm. Boom! Just as the hand landed, a figure appeared inside. He slapped toward Zhao Tianfeng and then toward the Sun-Moon hiding in the dark. The figure was illusory and couldn't be seen. At this moment, a divine symbol appeared in the air and turned into a faceless person. He looked at the figure and said faintly, Nan Wujiang. Or the original patriarch? The phantom didn't reply and slapped down. Rumble. The void exploded and space was torn apart. The faceless man took a few steps back. Beside him, 2 suns and moons instantly appeared. He bowed and said, Lord. Go. The faceless man shouted in a low voice and the 3 of them quickly fled. The phantom stretched out his hand and grabbed at the 3 of them. The faceless man returned with his sword and the phantom coldly said, How many divine runes do you have to break? More than you can imagine. As soon as he finished speaking, a loud boom rang out, shaking heaven and earth. The faceless man, who was the incarnation of the divine runes, instantly exploded, and a powerful destructive force swept out in all directions. Just as the illusory figure was about to give chase to the 2 escaping suns and moons, he frowned slightly and quickly turned around to grab Ji Hong, who was severely injured. His gaze was cold and stern as he looked around, sighed, and then grabbed Ji Hong and left. Ji Hong kept coughing up blood as he looked at the illusory figure. You. The primordial sect leader. The illusory figure ignored him. Southern borderless. Ji Hong coughed up blood once more. He said that you are Southern borderless, you are the 3rd generation prefect. Impossible, Southern borderless is dead. Ji Hong kept coughing up blood as his injuries were not light. Did that person arrange for you to come here? Are you trying to get information about me? Yes or no? You guys are playing a double act, right? Ji Hong's face was deathly pale. He smiled and said, I've been rooted in the great Xia manor for so many years, so I'll let go of these little tricks. Are you guys afraid that if I die, the things I've found will explode? The primordial sect leader. Southern borderless. I don't believe it. I won't say anything. Do as you wish. The illusory figure was indifferent. He lifted him up and instantly disappeared from the spot. At the same time. Somewhere. In a large hall, a figure stood up and looked at the great Xia manor with bright eyes. Nan Wujiang. As he said that, he frowned slightly. Was it Nan Wujiang? Did he feel that he had been exposed, so he did not care and came out so quickly? Just as he was about to test the identity of the primordial sect leader, he appeared. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? The figure fell into deep thought. Very quickly, he sent a message, Zhao Tianfeng, the two of you, quickly go into hiding. Yes, sir. The two replied. Soon, the figure stopped thinking about it. Primitive, southern borderless, whether it was true or not, he would just take it as it was. However, there were still some suspicious points. Primitive had come out too quickly, and he always felt that it was too easy. Figures flashed in his eyes, and soon, the figures in the hall closed their eyes and stopped thinking about it. Ji Hong had been attacked and saved by a mysterious person. No one knew if he was alive or dead, and no one knew where he was. This was the news that Su Yu had received. At that moment, he had destroyed a mountain and sea with a single punch. Frowning, he quickly said, retreat. It's all small fries. Clean up the scene. Yes, sir. The group of people quickly cleaned up the battlefield and disappeared. As for Su Yu, he silently sent a message to Wan Tiansheng. Mansion Master, did you arrange for Director Ji's matter? Wan Tiansheng sent a message after a while. No, you don't have to worry about that. Ji Hong won't die in a short period of time. Principal, what exactly is going on? Can't you tell me at all? Wan Tiansheng seemed to hesitate for a moment, and then. He sent a message. Remember, don't trust anyone easily. Including me, including everyone. In this world, anything is possible. There are some things that even I don't have a complete picture of, but it's about time. I can't give you an accurate answer right now, including the situation of the primitive, blue sky, mystic armor, and many others. If I tell you now, it will only cause you to have some doubts. Su Yu was puzzled. What did he mean? Wan Tiansheng said again, you are scheming against others, but you don't know that there might also be someone who is taking the opportunity to scheme against you, wanting to blow up all the trump cards of the great Xia manor. Su Yu, be careful. There are some things that I am still investigating. Got it. Su Yu replied, but his heart was trembling. What did he mean? Previously, when he asked Lao Wan acted as if he didn't know anything. He thought that Lao Wan was doing it on purpose. Now. It couldn't be that Lao Wan really didn't know, right? That would be a huge scam. Holy shit. The meaning in his words was a little complicated. In terms of the great Xia manor, the person that Su Yu trusted more was probably Lao Wan. Even though he didn't have much contact with it, it was still better than some blue sky or primitive. Black armor. He looked at the black-armored elder and frowned. Forget it, let's not think about it anymore. There were some things that were more complicated than he thought. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2121. 2121 Chapter 467 Return 1. Great Xia Manor. Heart Cultivation Pavilion. Wan Tiansheng looked out the window, towards the academy, towards the capital, towards the outside of the capital. He was thinking. He was thinking about many things, thinking about all the possibilities. He was thinking about whether he would be in charge of everything this time, or if he would be used as a chess piece by someone else. Of course, he had his own thoughts and plans. Outside the window, a figure flickered. The figure appeared with a faint smile on his face. He looked at Myriad Heaven's Saint and Myriad Heaven's Saint looked back at him. The person who appeared instantly had a big smile on his face. "Principal, are you looking at the moon?" Myriad Heaven's Saint was as calm as water. "I'm looking at you. You're very pretty." "Principal likes pretty." The person smiled and in the next moment, he suddenly transformed into a beautiful woman. His smile was brilliant as he beamed. "Principal, are you pretty?" "Pervert." How can Principal say that about me?" The woman covered her face with her jade-like hands and said coquettishly, "Principal, am I not beautiful? Or is Principal a pervert who doesn't like women?" Wan Tianxing looked at him indifferently. "Have you had enough fun? Principal really doesn't take teasing." The woman smiled and instantly turned into an old man. She had the air of an immortal and said with an aged face, "Little Wan, life is short, why not enjoy it in time?" Wan Tianxing's eyes flashed. "If you've had enough fun, you can stop for a while." The old man instantly stopped and turned into a middle-aged man. He said in a low voice, "Lord Prefect, Lan Tian is respectful." Wan Tianxing looked at him for a long time and said, "Have you betrayed me?" Lan Tian looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "The prefect actually suspects me. My God, my loyalty can be seen by the sun and the moon." Wan Tianxing said faintly, "The sun and the moon can be seen, but Invincible can't identify it, right?" Lan Tian laughed. "The principal is really, really honest. The principal knows me well. In this world, the principal knows me well." Wan Tianxing said coldly, "You can shut up now." "Lan Tian, what are you trying to do? Also, Suyu's word change divine script was passed down by you, right?" "That's not true." Lan Tian chuckled, "How could it be me?" It was clearly the Thousand Hands bandit Su Bin, but he also comprehended it himself. "What does it have to do with me? Isn't Su Bin you?" Lan Tian said in surprise, "Su Bin is me. How is that possible? Su Bin, is Su Bin me?" Lan Tian seemed to be immersed in his memories, and after a long while, he chuckled, "It's probably me. Manor Head, you don't know. Daming Manor is really interesting. It's very powerful. They created the ancient induction jade and actually managed to drag me out. I'm too miserable. I had no choice. I could only pretend to be a woman to gain sympathy, but in the end, Lan Tian turned into a woman again. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Su Yu, that Iron Man, doesn't have any pity for women at all. He even hit me." Wan Tianxing looked at him coldly. Lan Tian looked at him shyly. Soon, he laughed embarrassedly and turned into a middle-aged man again. He said helplessly, "Head Prefect, do you have a heart of stone? How could you treat me like this? I'm already crying, but you're still indifferent." Wan Tianxing said coldly, "Shut up after you've had enough fun. Let me ask you, have you found out the original identity? Aren't you the original?" Wan Tianxing looked at him, and Lan Tian also looked at Wan Tianxing. After looking at him for a while, Lan Tian said embarrassedly, "No." "What do you think?" Wan Tianxing looked at him coldly. Lan Tian said dryly, "I think you are." Soon, he said in surprise, "Stop fooling around, are you really not?" The Myriad Heaven Sage continued to look at him coldly. Lan Tian was stunned. "Really, stop fooling around. Isn't that your past self? I didn't capture the 3 incarnations." The Myriad Heaven Sage said coldly, "I'm only at the 9th level of the sun and moon, the real ninth level of the sun and moon. I don't have a 3 incarnations. Lan Tian instantly stood up straight. Don't tease me. The myriad heaven sage looked at him. After a long while, he repeated, I am me, the myriad heaven sage. There is only one myriad heaven sage in this world, there is no second one. I don't cultivate the past, there is no future. I only have me, the myriad heaven sage. Lan Tian was completely stunned, as if he could not accept it. Don't King tease me. Lan Tian looked at him. Seeing that he did not seem to be lying, he said in shock, that primitive. He appeared 100 years ago. Do you think it's me? Why do you think so? Lan Tian swallowed his saliva and said in a daze, no, it can't be. I have tried many times. I have always felt that it's you who has secretly replaced the primitive. You said that you aren't. Lan Tian said in surprise, what the hell? That's not right. Then, who is he? Wan Tianxing stared at him. You don't know who he is, yet you dare to say that he is a 3rd generation. Do you know that it's very easy to cause some trouble? No. Lan Tian explained, I may have fallen into a trap. What do you mean? Lan Tian frowned. Primitive was deliberately guiding me to say these things, guiding me to focus my attention on him. He did it on purpose, for sure. Lan Tian said seriously, he lied to me. No, maybe, he really is the 3rd generation. It's true. I have checked. He might really be the 3rd generation. Myriad Heaven Saint was still looking at him. Lan Tian said in a deep voice, the 3rd generation might not be dead. Primordial is the 3rd generation. If it's not you, then he is the 3rd generation. Are you sure? I am very sure. Very sure. Myriad Heaven Saint said coldly, Lan Tian, aren't you going to ask me what I'm doing now? Lan Tian suppressed the doubts and palpitations in his heart and said with a smile, it's just a small matter. Why bother the manor head? Besides, you're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 21-22 21-22 Chapter 467 Return to. He laughed. Lord Mansion Master, I'm not sure if you're good or bad. Lan Tian, you've been the cult master for so long that you don't want to come back anymore, right? That's not true. Lan Tian laughed. Mansion Master, Xianjiu is Su Yu, right? What do you think? I think so. Lan Tian laughed. Other than him, who else would be so bold and be so torturous? Tell me, could Primordial have guessed that Xianjiu is Su Yu? I have a feeling that Primordial knows a lot of things. It is precisely because of this that I misjudged him. Yuan sure might know more than we thought. Isn't he a 3rd generation? If he isn't a 3rd generation, then he is your 3rd generation. I am certain. Wan Tianxing laughed. You are certain? Yes. Wan Tianxing sighed. Scram. You are a piece of trash. You can't do anything. I told you to unify the Myriad clan cult, but you insisted on going against me. I told you to hide, but you insisted on being high profile. You are no longer Lan Tian. Suit yourself. What you said. Blue Sky smiled. Manor Head, you've misunderstood. I'm too famous and can't be low profile. I can only go against the grain and be high profile. As for the Myriad clan sect, if it weren't for me, the Myriad clan sect might have grown over the years. I still have some credit, right? Myriad Heaven Saint ignored him. Blue Sky smiled again. Don't be like this. It's not like I've accomplished nothing. At the very least, I smoothly passed the power of the myriad clans sect to Suyu, right? Xianjiu isn't Suyu. Wan Tianqing sighed. You are stupid. Lan Tian said in surprise, stop fooling around. Are you lying to me? It's fine if the primordial isn't you, but Xianjiu isn't Suyu either. Are you kidding me? Idiot. Lan Tian widened his eyes. I'm serious. Is Xianjiu really not Suyu? Wan Tianqing frowned and said, maybe you can go to the ancient city of Xinghong and ask him yourself. I can't give you an accurate answer. Lan Tian looked at him and frowned. You still don't believe me. Maybe. Wan Tianqing sighed. Maybe. This plan is going to fail. You idiot. You haven't even confirmed your original identity yet you dare to talk nonsense. And Xianjiu sighed too. Shaking his head, he sighed. Don't mess around anymore. Lan Tian looked at him suspiciously. Are you deliberately guarding against me? Wan Tianqing, you're a little too careful. I'm one of your people. Are you excluding me just like that? Wan Tianqing said calmly, that's not true. You definitely don't trust me. Lan Tian frowned and said, all these years, I've given up a lot. How can you treat me like this? After saying that, he turned into his female form. You heartless man. Wan Tianqing frowned and looked at him. Stop playing around. Is it very interesting? You're a heartless man. Nalan Tian complained. You must be suspecting me. The primitive is either your past or your third generation, right? Xianjiu is also Suyu, right? You have to hide it from me. Wan Tianqing had been looking at him for a long time. Suddenly, he said, I don't know if you've betrayed me. After all, it's been a long time. And you haven't told me many things. Aren't you suspecting me too? Lan Tian said resentfully, is the trust between people gone? Tell me first, was it you in the beginning or not? No. Wan Tianqing frowned. I said no. Was it the third generation? I don't know. You don't know. Lan Tian frowned. Didn't he tell you whether he was the third generation or not? I'm not familiar with the third generation, although I'm his disciple. There was nothing wrong with what he said. He was the third generation's disciple, but he was the third generation's eldest disciple who took in disciples on behalf of his teacher. When he entered the school, the third generation had already died, so he was not familiar with the third generation. That's true. Lan Tian understood. Alright, I'll take it seriously. Then let me ask you again, is Xianjiu Suyu? He might be. Lan Tian nodded. That's more like it. Don't think that I don't know him just because he's wearing a vest. If you say he's not, I want to blow your head off. At this point, Lan Tian smiled. Alright, it doesn't matter whether he is or not. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the situation is like in the primordial era. I don't care either. I took the risk to find you today to tell you a big secret. Speak. Lan Tian said mysteriously, the half-emperor of the incipient demon race might be here. However, it might not be a three-generation body, but a divine cultural embodiment or a blood essence embodiment. Most likely, it's attached to Modwa Na's body. Modwa's. It's possible that he's a spy prepared by this guy. Once the breakthrough fails, he might be reborn in Modwa's body and take over Modwa's body. The 10,000 heavenly saints' eyes changed slightly. Lan Tian chuckled, is the secret big enough? Of course, this is my own judgment after many years of dealing with the incipient demon race. It might not be accurate. Also, Demon King Lad should know about the incipient demons, right? This time, he might have sneaked in personally. This fellow's present body and future body were destroyed last time. His past body might have come personally this time in order to reconstruct the body of a demon king in the ruins. This fellow is a demon king after all. You have to be careful. Will the demons tell you these secrets? Of course not. Blue Sky sighed. How is that possible? But I'm beautiful. Do you know how much I paid to enter the demons? I even slept with a few little demon kings. How tragic. Wan Tiansheng looked at him. After a while, he said, "Is it real?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 21-23. 21-23 Chapter 467 Return 3. It's true. Lan Tian sighed, I transformed into a beauty, it's very beautiful. After a long while, the myriad heaven saint said, You can scram now, Lan Tian, you're getting more and more perverted. I paid such a huge price for the human race, my innocent body is gone, you heartless man. Lan Tian looked at him resentfully. Forget it, forget it. I'm leaving now. After I recover my true body, you must marry me. By the time he finished speaking, he had already disappeared. Myriad heaven saint. Crazy. He sighed in his heart. This madman might really have gone mad. Back then, he had already gone mad, so there were some things that he didn't dare to tell this fellow. Now, he was even crazier than before. If this went on, once he reached the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm and obtained his 3rd life body, this fellow might kill him. Primitive, mystic armor. Thinking of this, the 10,000 heavenly saints closed his eyes and had a myriad of thoughts in his mind. Madonna, the demon emperor, lad. Also, the scene he saw, and, the hand behind his back, the hand that was attacking him. He had already made some decisions. Thinking of this, he took out a voice transmission talisman and hesitated for a moment before sending a message. Be careful of the blue sky. Also, Madonna and the other geniuses of various races, be careful. These people might have an invincible essence blood or a clone attached to them. Su Yu, who was in the middle of doing something, was stunned. What the hell? The geniuses of the various races might be attached to an invincible entity? Su Yu frowned and sent a message, why are they geniuses and not those experts at the 8th or 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm? It's easier to attach a bloodline inheritance. In addition, the stronger the talent, the stronger the bearing. Su Yu was depressed. Does principle mean that if I really clash with these people, I might be beaten to death? That would be too unfair. Just avoid them a little. Be careful. If you can't do anything, leave as soon as possible. Lu Wenyan returned very quickly. Once he returned, the ruins would be drawn out by him. Chaos would break out, and halfway through the opening, Xia Long had attained his Tao, and the heavens were in chaos. If you can leave, then think of a way to leave. Got it. This time, Wan Tiansheng gave a clear answer. Su Yu lamented silently. You have always been a mysterious person, but now that you are no longer a mysterious person, you must have been fooled as well, right? Really? You made me think that you are incredible. Lu Laoshi is coming back, and his return, is his breakthrough point. In that case, I have to kill him as soon as possible, and I have to cultivate as well. I haven't completed the 72 casting yet, and the 61 casting will take another 2 to 3 days. My strength is still not enough. Su Yu sighed and punched another mountain and sea into pieces. He looked around, he smiled and said, they are all small fries. They are all brave. How dare mountain and sea come to southern origin to wander around? Everyone, the small fries have been cleaned up. I have received information that Ji Hong is being chased and missing. It may be that the original cult master saved him. Everyone, let's find out more about the original cult master. As soon as he finished speaking, the huge strength cult master asked in a deep voice, "Can we find him?" "Of course." Suyu smiled and said, "That's what the Heaven Hunting Pavilion does for a living." As soon as he finished speaking, he shouted, "If it's chaotic, then let's make it even more chaotic. Tonight, we'll kill all the 10,000 races outside of Southern Origin City. After we're done, we'll retreat. We'll track Ji Hong's whereabouts and find the original cult master. Bring all these people who are hiding in the dark to the surface." "Yes." Everyone acknowledged the order. Xian Jia transmitted his voice, "Are you sure you want to track him down?" "Of course. He might be from the southern borderless region. Is it appropriate for you to force him out?" "There's nothing inappropriate about it. He didn't say that he's from the southern borderless region. Besides, even if he is, do I know him?" Suyu didn't mind. Myriad Sage had already said that he would deal with him as he pleased. Since that was the case, then of course, I'll deal with it as I please. That night, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion launched a surprise attack on the outskirts of Southern Origin City. Dozens of Sun and Moon assassins launched a surprise attack, causing chaos and killing countless people. As for Xianzhou, the spokesperson of the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, before he left with a sentence, "Do as you're told." He then left, causing more than 10 Sun and Moon assassins to chase after him. As for who issued the killing mission, the Heaven Hunting Pavilion didn't say. Very soon, Suyu followed Ji Hong's position on the Heaven Hunting list and followed him. He also wanted to see who this person was. The human realm was in turmoil. The heavenly battlefield was also in turmoil. Near the East Rift Valley, the great Qin King frowned. He was also continuously receiving news from the human realm. After a long time, he said, "The civilized mansion has already caused the human realm to be in turmoil. The troubles are all concentrated in the Great Xia Mansion. Ask for the suns and moons in the War God Hall. Ask them to go to the Great Xia Mansion and take charge of the Great Xia Mansion to suppress the riots." The Great Xia King did not say anything. Seeing this, the Great Qin King said, "Go to the southern Yuan and don't run around. As for the ruins, the 10,000 races have obtained them and have killed them with all their might. The human race has obtained them, and it's all up to fate. Old Xia, do you have any objections?" "No." The Great Xia King said coldly, "If they have the ability to snatch it, then it's theirs. What objections can I have?" The Great Qin King didn't care too much. He said again, "This time, many of the Eternal Three incarnations may have snuck into the human realm. In addition, Suyu's side has injured many of the Eternal Ones. This is also an opportunity for everyone. Xia Langwu and the others have gathered Qin Town, Zhou Polong, Zhou Patian, Niu Baidao, Cheng Mo, Tang Yu, Wu Long, Yuan Hong, all of them have come to the heavenly battlefield to prepare for the Tao." In one breath, he called out to more than 10 people. The Great Qin King said in a low voice, "Since the 10,000 races have set their sights on the human realm, then this time, let the human realm be attacked by these people. 3 to 5 eternity cannot break through the human realm. As for the human realm, those who are in seclusion, those who are traveling far away, those who should come out, and those who should come back, come back. Those who are in charge of the small realm, come out this time." You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 21-24. 21-24 Chapter 467 Return 4. The 8 eternal guardians of the human realm shall obey the orders of the great Ming King. The rest of you, split up and become Tao protectors. Someone said, "Great Qin King, why don't you become Tao protectors together? That way, you'll have more power as a protector." The Great Qin King sighed, "All right, I know what you mean. If we all cultivate together, we'll either live or die. We'll be buried together." This wasn't impossible, but the human race couldn't afford to gamble. Let Xia Longwu, Qin Zhen, and the others attract more people's attention and split up the power of the 10,000 races. If Xia Longwu and the others die, there's still hope for the others. After saying this, he said, Xia Longwu, Qin Zhen, Zhou Polong, and the others should all split up. As for the others, it's not impossible for two of them to cultivate together. Then how do we protect them? The great Qin king thought for a moment. He said, those who have their own descendants, each protect their own descendants. Those who don't, look at yourselves. If nothing unexpected happens, Xia Longwu and Qin Zhen will be under more pressure. As for Xia Longwu, he might be in danger. Saying this, he looked at the great Xia king and asked, Old Xia, what do you say? Me? The great Xia king said calmly, what can I say? I know that you want to make the human race more invincible, but you made everyone come to verify the Tao and spread out the eternal strength of the human race. The probability of the dragon martial Tao succeeding is less than 1 in 10,000, isn't it? The great Qin king was silent. After a while, he nodded and said, yes, if Xia Longwu proves the Tao alone, everyone can still protect him with all their strength. His chances of success will be even greater. I want to borrow his strength to fight for a chance for the others. I'll go to Xia Longwu's side, Qin Town's side. He looked around and looked at the king of silkworm exterminators. Wang Hu, go protect Qin Town. If you can't beat him, give up. The king of silkworm exterminators smiled and said, it can't be, right? Old Qin, why do you have to set an example for your own son? It's better for you to protect Qin Town. I can't shoulder this responsibility. I'll follow old Xia. The chances of Xia Longwu succeeding are not high. Even if he doesn't succeed and gets killed, old Xia is prepared. He won't blame me, right? The great Xia king looked at him and smiled. Your mouth stinks. The silkworm exterminating king laughed. That's a terrible thing to say. I'm protecting your grandson. It's fine if you don't thank me, but you still want to scold me? The great Xia king couldn't be bothered with him and quickly said, just me and Wang Hu. Too little. The great Qin king frowned. Not enough. Xia Longwu's side is the main target of the 10,000 races. I'll go too. In addition, the heaven-banning king and the heaven-casting king will follow me. The 5 of us will protect Xia Longwu's path. As for Qin Town, he looked around and suddenly said, Qin Town will let him and Zhou Polong verify the Tao together. Old Zhou, please bear with me. The surroundings quieted down. The great Zhou king said calmly, is it suitable? It is. The great Qin king looked at him. Old Zhou, your strength is second only to mine. I can rest assured if you protect the Tao. The great Zhou king thought about something and said after a long while, if Polong and the others succeed and Qin Town fails, what then? That's fate. The great Qin king also said calmly, this is something they should bear. If they really don't want to take the risk, then they should find a small world to verify their Tao. It's safer. The great Zhou king didn't say anything else. The great Qin king didn't say anything else either. At this point, the great Zhou king had accepted this mission. He was in charge of Zhou Break the Sky and Qin Town. Around them, some of the invincible experts were silently thinking about something. The great Zhou king. There were traitors in the human race. And the greatest suspect was actually the great Zhou king. The great Zhou king was also the leader of the peace-seeking faction. His philosophy was to ignore the outside world for now. It was best not to test the Tao and stimulate all races. He wanted to cultivate his body and temper his character. He wanted to wait for an unrivaled civilized master to appear in the human race and activate the restrictions. Of course, this matter was not that simple. The heavens battlefield. Lu City. In the dilapidated Lu City, Xia Longwu rushed over once again. After a while, the door to the secret chamber opened and Lu Wenyan walked out. Xia Longwu took a look and frowned. The peak of the mountain in Sea Realm? Yes. It's a little weak. Lu Wenyan smiled. No rush. I know about the turmoil in the human realm. The ruins have opened and a tombstone has appeared. It's not suitable for me not to go to the ruins to advance to the sun and moon realm. Can you do that? Sure. Lu Wenyan stroked his beard and smiled. No problem. Don't worry. What about you? I'm ready. Xia Longwu said in a deep voice, I can't interfere with the matters of the human realm while I'm here. Whether I succeed or fail, I can't interfere with the matters of the human realm. My second uncle. I don't know what he's thinking. He seems to have some plans of his own. Help me keep an eye on him. That waiter. Lu Wenyan smiled. I know, but I probably can't control him. We'll see. Xia Longwu nodded. He hesitated for a moment before saying, My son, forget it. After enjoying the blessings of the Xia family, we'll see how lucky he is. Soon, Xia Longwu took a deep breath and said, There's one more thing. Regarding the Lu family was destroyed. Lu Wenyan raised his hand and smiled. Let's not talk about this. We'll talk about this later. Lu Wenyan looked outside the house, he smiled and said, Back then, I met my master here. I walked out of here and went to the human realm. At that time, thousands of people in Lu City were watching. They were watching me being accepted as a disciple by Yi Badian. My future is boundless. I'm quite famous, but I haven't done anything earth-shattering in my life. I'm not even as good as my cheap student.